Bernie and AOC doing a CNN town hall about, well, I assume government shutdown and other fucking shit. Judged off of what's being said here. It's a CNN town hall. Obviously, the shutdown is still happening. It's been about 2 weeks. Day 15? Day 17? I think it's day 15 of the government shutdown. And I don't think it's going to be changing anytime soon. Let's be quite honest here. Because, again, like, the Democrats have... to be quite honest, like, they don't have any real reason to want to do anything about the fucking shutdown. The Republican Party is still wholeheartedly uninterested in any form of fucking negotiations. And honestly, I hope that the Democrats continue to stay strong and continue to basically not capitulate at all to the Republicans. Because, again, the Republican Party is not honest in their current negotiations. In fact, they are trying to do everything possible to, well, broadly speaking, force the Democrats to come to them. And I'm surprised that Chuck Schumer's not capitulated so far. I think it's good that he's not fucking capitulating so far. Because, again, what did the fucking Republicans want? They essentially just want to fuck over about 20 million people out of healthcare insurance, and also make it such that a bunch of people don't get their fucking pay. They'll still pay the military and ICE and all that shit, but if they want to go after federal workers, which they're already doing anyways, then okay, whatever, they can try to do that. They've been doing that anyways. Same with all the bullshit that they keep saying that, oh, Trump's going to do whatever he wants. I don't think that really makes much of a difference either, because Trump's already doing whatever he fucking wants. So, I mean, you guys can, like, cope and seethe about it or something. Like, he's already just doing whatever he fucking feels like, despite what Congress is saying, and despite what the courts are saying, and despite what anyone is saying, because, he's surrounded by a bunch of sycophants and dipshits, and he's a fucking felon who's currently in power. All right, what do we have here?
And of course, it's so great to have both of you here. We have so many audience questions tonight, really good ones. And Senator Sanders, just in terms of how long this shutdown has gone on, you and I have spoken multiple times during this, but we're now on the 15th day. The ninth vote to reopen the government failed. Do you think Speaker Johnson is right when he says that this could be one of the longest government shutdowns in U.S. history?
No. I think the Republicans are catching on that you can't throw 15 million Americans off of the health care they have. And studies indicate that when you do that, some 50,000 Americans a year will die unnecessarily. And then on top of that, just in Vermont today, Caitlin, people in my state and all over this country are beginning to receive notices from insurance companies about what their new premiums will be if we do not stop what Trump is doing. In my state of Vermont, there are people today who receive notices that their premiums are going to quadruple. Some less, 3 times. In my state of Vermont, and again, this is true in many parts of the country, middle-class families...
I think John Thune also just indicated that he's saying, like, oh, you know, we're willing to try to potentially offer concessions to the Democratic Party. Bullshit. I don't believe his lies. There is no reason to believe anything that comes out of a fucking Republican's mouth. Like, quite literally, when Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer went to fucking negotiate with both the president and the vice president, you want to know what those motherfuckers did specifically? Oh, they quite literally said, no, fuck you, we're going to actively snub you at every single fucking turn. And they decided to be like, oh, we're just going to make, like, AI memes of you or some shit. Like, it is a wholeheartedly unserious effort that is being undertaken by the Republican Party. They are just not interested at all whatsoever in terms of, well, not like capitulation, I would say, but in terms of negotiating with people. Like, do not give them any fucking sympathy. Fuck these people. They deserve none. They deserve none of it. So, as far as I'm concerned, Chuck Schumer is doing a great job, still trying to basically not capitulate to any of the demands of the fucking Republican Party. Because, again, you can't negotiate with these terrorists. I believe in terms of the relative polling, what is it? Americans' opinion on the shutdown. I believe their current opinions are saying that Trump is the main person to blame. However, it's relatively spread out. They blame both parties, but they also blame, like, they have no, well, either they don't know what's going on, and don't really seem to care all that much, but they also are saying that Trump is the main one who's to blame for this in particular. I just want to get some fucking polling. Democrats reported a greater concern about the shutdown, with 69% saying the shutdown is a major problem, compared with 59% of independents and 37% of Republicans. 86% of Democrats blame Trump for the shutdown. 82% blamed Republicans in Congress, while 73% of Republicans blame Democrats. It's due to it all being made to be a complete partisan fucking shit show fest. But from what I recall correctly, I think it's about 40 to 45% of Americans blame Trump specifically for the shutdown. Because obviously, given the sort of partisan lines that exist, what matters more than in that particular instance is also independence then in that particular case, where independents also do blame Trump for the majority part, for the fact that the government is shut down because of him, because he's not interested at all in fucking negotiating. Same with all these dipshits that are currently in power in the Republican Party. They're just not interested. Again, they got their orders from on high from Trump saying we don't need to negotiate with them. We can just pass the continuing resolution for the budget, and we can just pass it, no problem, folks. Which is an obvious lie. That's not how that works. But whatever. Let the fucking government stay shut down. Don't fucking give in to these terrorists.
We'll be paying $50,000 a year for healthcare. Anyone think that's sane? It's not. Who can afford that? Republicans are catching on. They're playing a losing hand. They are going to come to the table finally and address the healthcare crisis that they've created.
Okay, so you think Republicans will come to the table sooner rather than later? The White House has not indicated as much, and today the budget director, Russ Vought, said that north of 10,000 federal workers could be laid off during this government shutdown. Does that make Democrats rethink their strategy at all?
I don't think so. I think that what Russ Vought just announced today in the laying off of federal workers, we learned today, a judge has put a temporary restraining order because it is likely illegal what he and the Trump administration is doing. The problem is that this administration, the Trump administration, folks like Russ Vought, they think that destroying our healthcare, making sure that housing is too expensive to live in, that jacking up the cost of our groceries, they think all of this is about hurting Democrats. What they are doing is hurting Americans, and they are hurting this country. And if Mike Johnson wants to say that this shutdown is going to last a long time, it is because he is choosing to punish the American people, and we cannot stand for it, and we cannot allow it. And we also cannot enable it by acquiescing and enabling the behavior of bullies. So it ends today. So
If I could just add to something else.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking good, honestly. Yeah, like has been said before, you do not negotiate with terrorists. You do not negotiate with the Republican Party because they are just not honest actors. You do not believe in anything that the Republicans fucking say or put out because you just cannot acquiesce to any of their demands because they are not interested in, well, let's be quite honest here, the tenets of fucking democracy or fucking negotiating. Because again, the point for these motherfuckers specifically is to essentially try to subjugate and, well, force the Democratic Party to fucking capitulate. So again, you get like I said before, you can't negotiate with terrorists. Don't negotiate with fucking terrorists. Fuck these motherfuckers. There's no other way to put it besides fuck these stupid bitches.
Go ahead, Senator.
This is the cynicism of the Speaker of the House. Where are your Republican colleagues tonight? They're back here in Washington negotiating?
That's an excellent question, Bernie. Right now, House Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Senate Democrats are in Washington, D.C. Even Senate Republicans, I believe, are still in Washington, D.C. The only people who are not in Washington, D.C. are the over 200 elected Republicans in the House of Representatives. Because Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, refuses to call the House in session. He refuses to also seat Adelita Grijalva because they want to prevent the 218 signature and on-release of the Epstein files as well.
Can I ask you on that, because Speaker Johnson was asked
Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah, that's also another thing that's not going through right now. Because Trump's dumbass is definitely still in the fucking Epstein files. He's in the fucking goddamn files. He's in the motherfucking files. And Mike Johnson seemingly is willing to just do anything possible to just, have it such that the Epstein files don't come to fucking light. Which is a little fucking weird. Mike, why are you, I thought you were like a pious religious man. I thought you were part of the party that wanted to take care of the fucking pedophile. What happened? What's going on here? Like, I thought you guys cared about fucking children or some shit. Like, that's a little fucking suspicious. Why are you not doing anything about the obvious, like, pedophile that's currently in power? That's a little interesting. Wonder why he's not doing anything about it.
about that today, and he said it has nothing to do with that. It's so she can have all the pomp and circumstance that is afforded to most members when they're sworn in. Do you believe that?
No, Mike Johnson has sworn in several members, Republican members, in pro forma sessions. He understands that the importance of this country, the importance of representation, is not about pomp and circumstance. And in fact, it's not just about Representative Grijalva. It's about the over 700,000 people in the state of Arizona, veterans, seniors, teachers, students, who do not have anyone to call in an emergency because their elected representative that has been certified at municipal, state, and the federal level, federal acknowledgement, he refuses to seat a duly elected official here in the House of Representatives.
So we have a lot of questions tonight for people who are here in Washington, and Representative Ocasio-Cortez, this first question is for you. This is Alicia Dulford, who is from Camp Springs, Maryland, and is a TSA officer who's active in her local federal employees union. Thank you so much for being here. What's your question?
Thank you for having me. As the month of November approaches, many of us are facing serious hardships as we enter week 3 of the shutdown. Some are at risk of eviction or mortgage default, and local rental companies and lenders have become silent or refused to work with employees presenting DHS debt letters. What protections or emergency actions can be taken to prevent these workers and their families from losing their homes during this time?
Well, thank you so much for your question. And particularly as a TSA employee, I represent LaGuardia Airport. And so I know very, very well all the hard work that you all do and put in. And you all deserve a dignified workplace. You deserve a safe workplace. And you deserve the paycheck that you are working for. What I believe the best thing that we can do is to reopen the government right now and to ensure and to also call on our representatives and put pressure on individuals like the Speaker of the House to actually pick up the phone. The problem here is not that it's not even that there's a disagreement. It's that the Speaker of the House and the Trump administration refuses to even have a negotiation. They refuse to even pick up the phone and talk about this. And so I do not want us to start to agree with what Mike Johnson is saying and to have them preview for us and normalize the idea that everyone's just going to miss a paycheck, that a million federal workers...
Well, it's more so like, not only that, they want to make federal workers suffer. That's part of the fucking problem. More so than they're already doing right now. I'm not sure how much more exactly, like, Mike Johnson and the Republican Party can try to make them, I don't know, suffer more. I mean, everything that they're doing in terms of their actions are already fucking ridiculous and stupid. But, well, you know... fucking stupid nonsense, of course, from the Republican Party. They just want federal workers. Yeah, again, like you're saying, Boy Meets Smitty. Oh, Reagan. It's what Reagan did with the airport workers, the union that he forced back to work, of course. These people, like, fundamentally speaking, they don't care about any of this stuff. Like, if they can make a bunch of federal workers suffer, they will do it. If they can make a bunch of people working within public service suffer, they don't have a fucking problem with that, right? These are the people who are fundamentally against the concept of public service, right? So if they can make their lives worse, gladly, the Republican Party would love to do that because they want to funnel all those jobs and all those positions to the private sector specifically and just essentially try to destroy the state for the express purpose of, well, private fucking capital. But more so, it's more about the fucking Epstein files. Like, I'll be quite honest. Like, that's the main fucking shebang. Let's be quite honest here. The fact that the Republican Party is trying to do everything possible to protect the current pedophile in chief.
Are just going to go without that and to just warn that in advance and to have us accept that. This is not acceptable. This is not normal. And what is normal is for us to negotiate. When one party wants the votes of another party, you negotiate, you come to a compromise, and you pass a bill. That is schoolhouse rock, and that is how things should be. So I thank you for that, and I want to make sure that we, of course, pass a bevy of federal protections for workers, but we don't want them to be necessary in the first place.
Yeah, and Senator Sanders, on that front, on government shutdowns before, obviously you've said before that you believe shutting down the government is a serious and dangerous action. You said that we must do everything possible to prevent it. What would you say to people who are missing their paychecks about why it's worth it now?
Well, let me just, first of all, thank you very much for your service, and we're going to do everything we can and move as quickly as we can to make sure you get your paychecks. But I want to just back up a little bit to discuss how we got to where we are, because I'm not sure everybody knows this. What Alexandria was just saying is, in the House, majority rules, they pass the budget. In the Senate, not quite the case. It needs 60 votes, okay? That's been going on for a very long time. And the reason for the 60 votes is to encourage bipartisan negotiations, all right? Republicans have 53 people in their caucus, Democrats, including independents, have 47. You've got to talk. This time, for the first time in history, but Republicans are saying, yeah, we don't have 60 votes. We're not talking to you, our way or the highway. And what we are saying, sorry, you got to sit down and talk to us. You got to deal with the healthcare.
Well, okay, Bernie, the problem is first off, because of Michelle Obama saying that it's, well, Democrats are supposed to take the high road and just, like, just capitulate consistently to Republicans. And the main specific reason for as to why this attitude is currently being catalyzed at the moment is because of fucking Chuck Schumer whipping up 7 votes in the fucking Senate to vote on culture for the previous continuing resolution bill in March when the government was threatened to be, shut down back in March. So Trump, in his mind, essentially just be like, and I mean, he said this himself during that sort of general's speech that he did not that long ago, that basically, if we can just not have any vote, do anything that we want, specifically without the fucking Democrats into it, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, absolutely. We have no problem with that whatsoever. Fuck the Democrats, snub them. We have the votes anyway, so we can just go through it. That's not, obviously against the rules of the Senate, but the Republican Party has never given a shit at all about the fucking rules in terms of the annals of fucking Congress. If they can break anything in order to get their agenda passed, they're going to break it. Obviously. No problems whatsoever. They'll definitely break every sort of like stipulation and rule if it means that they can just get what they fucking want. So It should be fairly obvious. I mean, there's also, let's not forget at all about the, again, Epstein angle to all of this. It seems Mike Johnson, I guess in like his homosexual in the closet fueled adult rage or some shit, he wants to also protect the current pedo-in-chief as much as possible, who we know is in the Epstein files ever since Pam Bondi said to him in that Wall Street Journal report saying that his dumbass appears in the fucking files multiple times. And that's the real biggest reason for as to why this is not being allowing the sort of like a reopening of the government. It's all about protecting the current fucking pedophile in chief. Let's be quite fucking honest here. So it's one of those situations like, wow, this shit's so fucking goofy, man. Like, are we being for real right now? Like, seriously, we just want to fucking protect these supposed the supposed fucking child diddler that's currently in power right now, with the party that's supposed to be anti-child diddling, when we know that Trump's dumbass is in the fucking Epstein files. It's fucking ridiculous to me. I'll be quite honest.
Prices in this country.
Well, and they have both. Republicans have argued that Democrats should reopen the government and then they'll negotiate. Where do you both stand on that prospect?
I don't know. Based on their history, they've had months and months. This is not a new thing. Ever since Trump's big, beautiful bill was passed, we knew this was happening. They've refused to negotiate. And anyone thinks that tomorrow they'll suddenly start negotiating, I think is smoking what is illegal in many states.
Okay. On that front, let's explore legal anymore. From the audience,
smoking weed, folks. He wants to talk about weed.
Who says he's a Democrat who voted for President Trump in the last election. Jeffrey, what's your question?
Senator Sanders, you've said 50,000 people could die from ACA subsidy cuts. But right now, 1.4 million federal workers aren't getting paid. How do you justify choosing a fight over subsidies that might help people in the future over workers who are definitely suffering today?
You are talking to, along with Alexandria, one of the strongest pro-worker members of the United States Congress. So we are going to fight for federal workers. And by the way, in terms of the AFTRA union, you are aware, our friend in the White House basically, in an unprecedented way, decided he wasn't going to have that union anymore, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to fight for federal employees. But what you just said, about 50,000 people dying a year, this is based on studies from the University of Pennsylvania and Yale. You take 15 million people off of their health care, by and large, low-income and working-class people, what do you think is going to happen to them? They don't get a doctor, they have chronic problems. They will die. So this issue, and by the way, if I may, it's not only about health care. You know why we are in the situation we are today? Why do you think Trump and his friends made massive cuts to Medicaid and are forcing us to double premiums for the ACA? They gave the 1% in this country $1 trillion in tax breaks. $1 trillion
So
in
much
tax breaks at
money.
a time when we have more income and wealth inequality than any time in the history of this country. So I'm not going to sit back and say, yeah, we're going to let 50,000 people die so that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and other multi-billionaires will get a tax break.
But can I ask you in terms of negotiations and what's realistic for the subsidies which expire at the end of December? Obviously, open enrollment starts November 1st. Over in the House, there are 14 House Republicans who have said that they will sign on and they will vote for a one-year extension of the subsidies. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said he thought that proposal was laughable. Do you think that's laughable, or is that something you could get behind?
Yeah, no, let me tell you why it's laughable. Because it's cynical. Republicans want to sign on to just one little extra year of these ACA subsidies. You want to know why? What's happening next year? Midterm elections.
Midterm
They want to
elections.
extend these subsidies just a year extra so that people don't realize the dupe that they are pulling on everyone. So that they can all reelect themselves and allow...
This is such a good fucking point here that's being raised by AOC, because the point is, yeah, like, we know in the one big beautiful bill what's going to happen with it specifically. Oh, there a bunch of fucking cuts to Medicare and Medicaid are going to be going through anyways. So after the fucking midterms, so currently with the one big beautiful bill as it is written, the cuts that are going to happen relatively fucking soon basically have it such that they will go into effect after the midterms. Why? Should be relatively fucking obvious. The reason that is the fucking case is simply just due to the fact that they want to have all of the benefits of what they passed within the fucking midterms in order to try to make sure that they stay into power. Why do you think they're doing all the redistricting bullshit that they're currently pulling right now? It's because of that. And they know that what they just passed is pretty unpopular. If you take a look at the polling of the one big beautiful bill, it is very, very unpopular. People do not like what the Republican Party specifically is pulling with the one big beautiful bill. They do not like that shit whatsoever. And so they're trying to do everything possibly like, yeah, let's just not suffer any of the consequences for the stupid shit that we're basically pulling right now. And, just have the American people suffer after we just take away all their fucking health care and all of their fucking insurance for that. Why don't we do that? And it's just like, okay, dude, people are, like, listen, a lot of Americans are fucking stupid, okay? I'll say this. They're not that stupid. They know that that the Republican Party is trying to take away health care from them, which is a consistent thing of the Republican Party. So this sort of swindling is not going to necessarily work as well as the Republicans may anticipate, or at least the attempt at a swindling. I'm rambling here a little bit. Uh, Essentially, the Republican Party want to have all of the benefits of actually passing a massive bill without having to deal with any of the consequences, and then somehow put the consequences of that onto the fucking Democrats. This is a consistent playbook that the Republicans always pull. Do some stupid fuck shit that's obviously stupid and has consequences within the future, and then blame their political opponents for it. This happened with the migration wave, the Venezuelan migration wave. Again, 2019 Venezuelan coup. Who did that? Oh, that was the fucking goddamn Republicans. That was Trump who did the 2019 Venezuelan coup. Who negotiated the pullout of Afghanistan? That was Trump who fucking negotiated the pullout of Afghanistan to give a political shitstorm for the Biden administration to deal with. And same with all of the policies on COVID, same with all the policies on the Abrahamic Accords. This is a consistent pattern of behavior for the Trump administration, right? If he can just cause a bunch of fucking political shitstorms for his opposition, this not only for Trump, this is also a thing consistent with Republicans. If they can cause political shitstorms for the other side, and they don't have to deal with any of the consequences associated with it, they will gladly fucking do it. They play politics, whereas the Democrats, they have to get part of the blame here, do not play politics. They just refuse to play politics. Because of fucking Michelle Obama just being like, well, we take the high road, and we don't take the low road like those mean, sticky fucking Republicans. No. Don't fucking give me any of this, like, stupid-ass fucking bullshit. Like, complete fucking utter nonsense that this is the fucking case. Like, there's one side who is wholeheartedly causing the material conditions and everything to get worse, specifically in the United States of America, and is passing policies making everything worse within the fucking goddamn country. It is the Republican Party. And it's obvious. We can take a look through all of their fucking policies that they've been passing. One big beautiful bill, the 2017 tax cuts, Abrahamic Accords, the pullout of Afghanistan that Trump fucking negotiated, the 2019 Venezuelan coup. All of these have broader fucking consequences that the Republicans do not want to fucking deal with. And it's a consistent pattern of behavior from them.
All those things to expire the moment that they win re-election. And it is time to get politics out of what should be a guaranteed universal right in the United States of America, and that is healthcare. And so I will not accept a measly one-year acceptance a measly one-year extension of the ACA. We need to make sure, and as a member of the party, we put negotiations in the hands of our party's leadership with Hakeem Jeffries. He says it's no, it's no. And we have to make sure that we are expanding and continuing the fight and not falling for the fine print, not falling for the tricks, and not falling for the politics around this.
If I could add to what Alexandria was saying, it's not just 15 million people losing their health insurance, and it's not just tens of millions of people seeing a doubling or tripling in their premiums. Our healthcare system, and you guys can argue with me if you want, I think our healthcare system is broken. I think it is dysfunctional, and I think it's on the verge of collapse. And understand that when we talk about these massive cuts to healthcare from Trump and his friends, you're talking about cuts to nursing homes, you're talking about cuts to rural hospitals, you're talking about cuts to community health centers where 32 million people get their primary care. This system is on the verge of collapse. And I would hope that everybody in this room and everybody in America ask themselves a very simple question. Why is the United States, the richest country in the history of the world, the only major nation not to guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right?
So can I ask, if a one-year...
we all know the answer to this question. This is like the standard sort of Bernie stump. We love Bernard Sanders doing his standard stump and whatnot. Very, very cool and very good. But the point is simply to just bring about suffering for people. Like, that's the point, right? Like, they just want people to fucking suffer. Fuck you, fuck whatever other people have to say about anything. If it's all about the fucking suffering for average fucking people and funneling more money into the corporations and the rich, well, let's be fucking quite honest here. They will fucking do it. They'll do it. They'll do it. Like, it's so fucking ridiculous and silly. Like, if they want thousands upon thousands of people to die from lack of health insurance, well, they'll fucking do it. They don't give a shit about any of this stuff. Like, it's so fucking goofy, man.
extent, and you say is measly and doesn't cut it. What exactly do you want to see? What would you vote for?
Well, again, negotiations are all about a back and forth. And the idea of accepting something for nothing, I don't think is something that we're prepared to do. And by that, I mean, that requires Mike Johnson saying what he's willing to do and engaging in those negotiations with Hakeem Jeffries. And so this is a team sport. This is about making sure that we're all can come to something that we can agree with. So, I think we know what we will not accept. And what we will not accept is for these ACA premiums to skyrocket on the American people. What we will not accept is the doubling of these premiums. And what we will not accept is allowing the tiering of the system to collapse right before everyone's up.
Okay, so you won't accept 1 year. I know, Senator, you said that you believe they should be permanent. But in terms of what actually happens next year, what do you need to see for the the government to be reopened. Can you walk me through what that looks like?
I have a radical idea. Ready for a radical idea? Let's do what the American people want. Do a poll. Who's CNN? Ask people how many think it's a great idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and decimate the American healthcare system. And if you do not have a strong majority of Republicans, Democrats, and Independents saying that is crazy, I will be surprised. Let's do what the American people want. And at the very least, as we continue to fight for a Medicare for all single-payer system, we're going to protect people today.
We all know the polling on this, right? The extension of the ACA subsidies is, broadly speaking, popular. People want these things to be fucking extended. And people do not want them to just be, cut off and just gotten rid of, as the Republicans are seemingly trying to do. But again, like I've said before, when it comes to the Republican Party, if it can cause the suffering to more average working class Americans, they'll do it. They don't give a shit. They love making people suffer for, specifically their fucking donors, because that's who they in reality really answer to. It's all about the fucking donors with these people.
From losing their health care or from seeing their premiums skyrocket, seeing nursing homes, community health centers decimated.
But let's say that the White House and Republican leaders say that they will extend these subsidies. It's not clear how long, because you say 1 year is not enough. They haven't even really put that forward yet. I think the question is, does that need to be enshrined into law? What does that need to look like before you would vote to reopen the government? Or is a commitment from the White House and Republicans enough?
No doubt.
I mean,
Mr. President is a very honest man. If he says something, man, you can take it to the bank.
So you're saying his word is not enough?
bankruptcy court.
His word?
So what do you need to see? What commitments from?
I think we need to see ink on paper. I think we need to see legislation. I think we need to see votes. And I think we need to see these things pass on the floor of the House and the Senate and signed by President Trump. I don't accept IOUs. I don't accept pinky promises. That's not the business that I'm in.
Okay, so you need a signature from President Trump in order to vote to reopen the government.
Correct.
Okay, Senator Sanders, we've got another question. This one's for you. This is Logan Perry, who is a student at American University, who's a member.
I'll be quite honest. I think that's pretty fucking reasonable. Again, just at this point, it's we need something on paper, something that's fucking tangible. Because again, you can't trust Trump, whatsoever. If he can renege on a deal that he's made in the past, he will fucking gladly renege on that deal. He is a fucking liar. He's a charlatan and a fucking freak. If he can lie and get away with it, he'll do it. He'll never be honest with any of his fucking deals. And he's just someone that you can't broadly take lightly when in negotiation with him. Because again, if he can actively fucking snub you, he'll do it. He'll do it and not really give a shit about it. So, as I've been saying constantly before, you do not negotiate with fucking terrorists. Donald Trump and the Republican Party are nothing but a bunch of fucking terrorists. So you basically you can't capitulate. Which again, I've been saying this. I will give credit to Chuck Schumer in this one particular aspect. He decided to learn his lesson from the vote on culture, where everyone was saying do not capitulate. Do not give in to the Republican Party. Do not give in to these fucking dishonest freaks and fucking morons, because if they can just make the American people suffer, they will. They don't give a shit. There are no standards for these motherfucking people. It's so fucking goddamn stupid. So, you don't negotiate with these people. You can't negotiate with these people. You have to force them to come to the table to you. That's all that you can do. Because you can't trust them. You can't trust anything from the fucking Republican Party. They've already proven themselves to just not be honest actors in any fucking circumstance.
College Republicans and has volunteered for Republican campaigns. Thank you for being here, Logan. You're from Green, Maine. What's your question for the senator?
Thank you. Senator Sanders, which specific Republicans leaders do you believe you can work with to pass ACI and reopen the government?
Look, that's a great question. And let me tell you, I can mention a number
It's a reasonable
there are some decent,
question,
honest
yeah.
Republicans. And in American society, we believe in democracy. You're a conservative Republican.
Okay, well, I'll be quite honest. If we're talking about I don't know, your average sort of Republican, nice and decent, it's a little questionable. In terms of the punditry and the politicians, they're all demons. They're all fucking terrible. Yeah, even most average Republicans, maybe not all of them, but most of them, vast majority, I would say, fucking hate democracy. They hate the current sort of process that currently exists. Well, not process. What they essentially want is basically subjugation and forcing people to capitulate to their demands specifically, despite the fact that what they want is incredibly fucking unpopular. So it's just no, again, you don't negotiate with these people. There's no point in fucking negotiating with these people, because they are just wholeheartedly incompatible with society. They do not agree with the fucking goddamn majority. What they want is the tyranny of the minority. They want a smaller and smaller and smaller coalition of people to be the only ones on top and in power. Again, fundamentally speaking, for these people, it is all about maintenance of hierarchy and control, of first order principles.
So what? It's called America. We have different points of view. I got to tell you, though, if I may, one of the things that has concerned me very, very much, and is that we are seeing the Republican Party doing less of representing their districts and their states than just swearing allegiance to the President of the United States. Now, I never thought that I would say this, but you have somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, you know what? I was elected by my constituents. That's who I am beholden to, not the President of the United States. So there are good Republicans out there.
Well, I mean, okay, first off, let's not give that much credit to fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene. The reason why she's saying that and is trying to, in some ways, break from the sort of Republican Party line is because she knows. She knows that Trump's brand is dying, and it is, broadly speaking, very, very unpopular right now. She is looking to probably have some form of further aspirations. She's quite young, keep in mind, very, very young. She has further political aspirations. She just basically wants to sort of, I don't know, for like lack of a better term, yeah, she's the lead rat jumping off of the ship. Yeah, she just wants to jump off the ship because she knows that the ship is probably sinking and it's not really long for this world. She's not an honest actor either. If it was politically efficacious for her to be a hardliner in terms of the fucking shutdown and just blaming the fucking Democrats for it, she would. But the reason why, again, she is not an honest actor, and also she doesn't even like... She owns property not even in her main fucking district. Like, she has a house there, but she doesn't live there. She lives in a suburb in out of fucking Atlanta. So, okay, very cool and very good. Doesn't even live within her own fucking goddamn district. She's not an honest actor when she says the stuff that she is saying. She's a knowing grifter, and she doesn't believe in anything. Like, again, Jewish space laser lady. Again, as Jennifer Welch said herself, it's like, hey, Democrats, you're allowing the door to be open for knowing grifters and liars like Marjorie Taylor Greene to basically take the reins on being the main sort of people to be believing in, or to be believed for the express purpose of, well, what exactly? Oh, just to basically have like an avenue open for them to talk about a certain particular issues that their party is also leaving on the table, because, well, the Democrats and the Republicans, the broader establishment, both have the same goals in mind, and that is allowing the rich and the corporations to be the main people in power. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene do not fundamentally believe in anything. They are dishonest actors, and you should never believe anything from Marjorie. She is a liar.
And if Trump would leave them alone for 5 minutes and not threaten them with a primary if they stood up and did the right thing, I think we can make progress. I will give you one story. Tom Tillis, conservative Republican from North Carolina. When we were debating this big, beautiful bill, Tillis looks at the bill, he reads the bill, he says, this is a disaster for North Carolina. I can't vote for it. Literally, the next day, Trump was all over social media. The billionaires were all over saying, okay, you're finished. We're going to primary you. And a day later, this guy says, I'm out of here. I'm not running for re-election. All right? That's where we are right now. And that is a very serious problem.
You mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's your colleague over in the House. The way she
She's
frames
also
it, she says,
not
Democrats
wrong
created this
there.
mess, but Republicans don't have any solutions to fix the healthcare issue either. Is she someone that you could see yourself working with?
Or
On
he's
what?
also
On the healthcare.
I mean, listen, I think people can talk a good game, but until they actually support policy that helps people, I'm not particularly interested. But if she actually wants to support legislation and expanding healthcare, I've worked with plenty of Republicans as well on healthcare. I have a bill that I've introduced with Congresswoman Maliotakis, a Republican from New York, on expanding maternal health and reauthorizing the Healthy Start program to help newborns and new moms be able to support their kids. And so in terms of bipartisan legislation on healthcare, I'm more than open to doing that, but it's not just about talking the talk, we gotta walk the walk.
And you would need to see her actually support something that you're behind in terms of legislation on health.
Yeah.
Our next question is for you, Representative. This is a video question. It's from Eric Johnson, who lives in Hernando, Mississippi. He's an air traffic controller and a father of 4 who is joining us via video tonight. This is his question.
What do you suggest government workers do for food money when the paychecks stop coming?
I mean, these are the real questions that we have to be entertaining. And as I mentioned earlier, the best and most important solution.
So far, from what I understand, I mean, this is quite upsetting, is a lot of people have been going to food pantries, right? I know there's been a bunch of military families that are being forced to have to go to food pantries in order to get, well, food for the fact that they're not getting paid. Because a lot of these families, they live paycheck to paycheck. They need that next paycheck to be able to pay for their basic, well, goods and fucking services just to be able to survive. Maybe if people got paid more, this would not have to be a problem, but unfortunately, I mean, also like the concept of the government being able to be shut down is also very, very silly. That's a whole other fucking different rigmarole, fuckamagee kind of shit show idea as well. The fact that the government can be shut down is also rather ridiculous, but that's another fucking story. Obviously, the fact that this is the case that Americans have not been getting paid the money that they're supposed to be getting paid in line with production. Obviously, wage productivity gap, as always, my favorite fucking graph, is the main problem. No one's getting paid for all the work that they're doing, the amount that they should be getting paid. So, again, like, you become extra vulnerable to a lot of shit, specifically with government shutdowns, and if you fucking lose your job, because of the fact that Republicans and Democrats as well have been had hands in further allowing corporate fucking consolidation within the United States of America. Like, that's the main fucking problem when it really comes down to fucking brass tacks. But yeah, for now, from what I understand, it's fucking food pantries for these people, which is just sad. Again, richest country on the fucking planet.
To this is making sure that we reopen the government, not accept the inevitability of this, and come to a resolution as quickly as possible. Extending the shutdown would be a choice. Mike Johnson saying we want to make this the longest shutdown, saying this to prepare for this being the longest shutdown, that's not leadership. That is abdication of responsibility. It's an abdication to families like his, and a complete abdication of the responsibility that we have to people. Now, that being said, we do have to make sure that we come together as communities, and that we also systemically expand our programming, like the SNAP cuts that just happened, in addition to the $1 trillion in healthcare cuts as well, for families that are in financial duress.
You mentioned what Speaker Johnson has said about how long this could go on.
That's a really good point, by the way, that AOC raised. It's community, right? Fundamentally speaking with your neighbors, becoming like having rapport with them, and build communal ties in order to be able to better withstand a lot of fucking bullshit like this.
We've heard from Senator Schumer as well, who said the other day that as long as the shutdown continues, he said, quote, every day gets better for us. Do you think every day, though, gets better for someone like Eric?
No, I mean, it's, at the end of the day, this needs to be as short as possible. We do not want the government to be shut down. We don't. This is not something that is good for any American. It's not good for the million federal workers that are out there right now. It's not good for the Americans that rely on federal services. It's not good for people who are traveling and can't get through an airport because TSA workers are not being paid. So we have to make sure that this is as swift and as short as possible.
Well, and speaking of airports and what air traffic controllers are having to go through, not getting paid, I mean, he's a father of four, so I can't even imagine how that feels. And Senator Sanders, on that front, in a CNN story the other day, there was a senior Democratic aide who told CNN last week that Democrats won't back down on their demands here, short of, quote, planes falling out of the sky.
Right. What can I tell you? That's obviously unacceptable. Look, what we are dealing with is an unprecedented moment in American history. All right? So it's not only a debate about whether or not we can save healthcare for tens and tens of millions.
What do we talk about planes falling out of fucking... like, hold on. What do you mean planes falling? I have to fucking listen to that again.
On that front, in a CNN story the other day, there was a senior Democratic aide who told CNN last week that Democrats won't back down on their demands here, short of, quote, planes falling out of the sky.
Bro, okay, who the fuck cares about what one random senior Democratic aide fucking said? Again, you know, CNN doing the further right-wing pivot that they've been planning on doing for several years at this fucking point, forcing Bernie and AOC to have to answer for that. Like, fuck off. Who the fuck cares about any of that bullshit? Again, like, who are the main people that are causing all the planes to fall out of the sky? Oh, was people like Elon Musk and Doge and a bunch of other fucking dumbass motherfuckers deregulating the FAA and also getting rid of a bunch of extra fucking air traffic controllers. Like, get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. All because of that dumbass Elon Musk wanting to send up all of his, like, fucking space junk up into space and basically just making it such that he has to face no consequences or lawsuits for that specifically. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, wow, this is incredibly fucking stupid, man. Like, get the fuck out of here with this nonsense.
What can I tell you? That's obviously unacceptable. Look, what we are dealing with is an unprecedented moment in American history. All right? So it's not only a debate about whether or not we can save healthcare for tens and tens of millions of Americans. It's also a broader issue. And that issue is whether or not we will accept the reality that a handful of very, very wealthy people are now making out like bandits while 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. So I think what we are saying is that now is the time, not just on healthcare, but all across the spectrum. People can't afford groceries. The housing crisis is enormous. People paying 40-50% of their limited incomes for housing. And all the while working class families are struggling to put food on the table, Trump gives his billionaire friends huge tax breaks, and they are getting richer and richer. So what all of this is about is, do the American people come together and demand that we have a government that represents all of us, or just wealthy campaign contributors. That is essentially what this whole fight is about. And right now, healthcare is in the middle of it, but there are a lot of other issues. I worry very much. Now Xander and I were on the road talking about this issue, that we are increasingly becoming an oligarchic form of society where a very small number of people not only control our economy, but through their campaign contributions have huge influence over both political parties. And if there was ever a time in American history when we have got to stand up and fight for working families, fight to prevent authoritarianism taking place in this country, this is the moment.
But you're saying it's bigger than just about health.
Healthcare is huge. When 50,000 people a year may die because of Trump's cut, that in itself is huge. But the issue is even broader than that. It's, do you have a government that represents you and you, or a government that represents billionaires who want more and more tax breaks and more favors from the government? That's really what this struggle is about.
Senator Sanders, our next question is for you. Nicole Politska is here with us tonight. Thank you so much. She's a Democrat and a student at George Washington University from Sunnyvale, California. What's your question?
Hello. Republicans have been appealing to audiences, especially young people like myself, online using social media. Why does Republican messaging on social media seem so much more effective than Democratic messaging, and what can we do about it?
Well, that's a great question.
Well, because Democrats are octogenarian, led by focus groups and their fucking goddamn donors and advisors and all that bullshit. Like that's what it is. There's a fucking consultant class that exists within the Democratic Party that basically made it such that social media is not real. Who the fuck cares? Pay me millions of dollars instead. I totally know what I'm doing when it comes to fucking politics. When in reality, these motherfuckers have no idea what they're doing in terms of political prescriptions that they generally have. And that's purely what it is, by the way. These motherfucking consultants that get paid millions upon millions of fucking dollars to essentially spew a bunch of fucking bullshit and nonsense. You're trying to tell me that these motherfuckers who have been consistent fucking failures and have been really, really, really fucking bad in the past 8 fucking goddamn years at this point, that these people should be continue to be trusted? These people who also actively snubbed Bernie Sanders, who would have won in fucking 2016? Yeah, okay, bro. Yeah, totally. We should definitely keep listening to all these stupid dumbass motherfuckers, because in reality, like I said before, the Democrats, all these consultants, and all these motherfuckers, they also accept the exact same fucking corporate cash as the fucking Republican Party does. And as a result, they make it such that they're going to pass policy and believe in positions that are fundamentally pro-corporate. Whereas with the Republican Party, they at the very least are afraid of their constituents and are willing to adapt and adopt positions that they are saying, even through their fucking pundits that they have online. What fucking positions do most mainstream establishment Democrats adopt from people from the online sphere? It's none of them. Maybe one or two of them, but they have aides that believe in a lot of their positions. Absolutely. A lot of progressive aides. Are there any people within the annals of Congress that do? Not really. So it's an active snubbing specifically from the Democrats to a lot of the sort of online and constituencies that they are trying to gather in order to win, whereas the Republican Party is willing to listen to that. And they've been trying to cultivate a broader sort of online messaging campaign and platform for at the latter part of a fucking decade at this point, because of recognition by people like Steve Bannon being the main person talking about how social media and its emergence is going to be a very, very effective tool in fucking politics. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point, Boy Meets Smitty. Yeah, the right also wants to be the center of fucking culture really, really badly, right? Think of all these fucking goddamn pundits that the right has on social media and whatnot. It's all fucking gay, preppy, fucking theater kids who all flunked out of fucking goddamn Hollywood. Let's be quite honest here. So many of these motherfuckers are all just a bunch of losers who are just mad about the fact that they flunked out of fucking Hollywood for the fact that they are really, 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 really bad at production of culture. Because who are the motherfuckers who always are better at producing culture? It is people on the left. Everything that's good out of Hollywood, it's made by people on the left. There's some conservative stuff that breaks through, but rather an ideology that fundamentally believes in hierarchy and control and subjugation of others is not capable of being good creatives because, again, their forms of thinking are incredibly fucking rigid. Whereas with people on the left, a lot more free form, a lot more creativity can be more easily expressed in these ways of thinking. With the right wing, they don't have those same structures.
Question. I think the Republicans are effective. They have learned a lot about social media. And by the way, it doesn't hurt that their friends own all of the major social media platforms. You know, Bezos.
This is a good point also here by not Boy Meets Meat, but by Bernie Sanders. How many, literally Larry Ellison just fucking bought TikTok with some other unspecified investors and with some dude from fucking Dell, the CEO of Dell. So, yeah. A bunch of right-wing billionaires currently own all the social media platforms.
Owns Twitter or X. Zuckerberg owns Meta, Facebook, and Instagram. Mr. Ellison's going to own you pretty soon. I think he's going to take over CNN, not to mention CBS. So these guys have, they can use algorithms to help them. But to answer your question, look, it gets back to something that I've been talking about, Alexandria, others have been talking about. What does the Democratic Party stand for? And I think messaging becomes easy when you're prepared to stand up and fight the right fights. And what is the right fight? At a time when the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 93%, and the rich are getting richer while working families are struggling, you tell me what the issue is. And the issue is whether you stand with the working class of this country or with wealthy campaign contributors. And we're seeing more and more Democrats around the country, by the way, beginning to understand that.
The two-part question about how you're reaching out to people. The two of you did a video recently that got millions of views explaining the government shutdown, talking about why you think this fight is worth it. Democratic leaders did one.
Oh, I saw that video. It was a really, really good video. Very, very good video.
A live stream that only got a couple tens of thousands of views, much less than both of y'all's. Do Democratic leaders need to up their game and how they're reaching people?
This is the master of social media. I'll let her answer that.
Well, I think to Bernie's point, we're successful in these mediums when we're clear about what we believe. And whether in the great diversity of our country, in the very different perspectives that we may have.
Holy shit. She, by the way, knocks it out of the fucking park. Yeah, that's a huge problem with the Democrats. They don't believe in anything, fundamentally speaking. They believe in nothing. It is basically a dead party. Or I would be saying it's a dead party if it wasn't for Chuck Schumer actually deciding to show a fucking backbone for once in his fucking life. Otherwise, it's a completely fucking dead party. It's also one of the biggest reasons why they've lost 2024, because they don't believe anything. They believe in fucking nothing. The fact that you have to believe in stuff is what is incredibly fucking important in politics. Republicans believe in stuff. It's abhorrent. It's terrible. It's awful. But it's something. At least some form of advocacy for a future prospect within America. It's dog shit. It's all about blaming immigrants for the woes of the average American, which is the consistent historical playbooks from conservatives. But, that's neither here nor there. That's a whole other fucking argument. The main issue is the fact that these motherfuckers within leadership, again, with Chuck Schumer being well, the Baileys have been consistently telling me that I have to just sit around and do nothing. And they've been saying that if I continue to do nothing, the Baileys, if I just sit here and I do nothing, therefore we're going to be able to win, folks. That's how it works with the Baileys. And it's just oh, brother, this guy stinks. And people wonder why they fucking hate the Democratic Party so much. I mean, this is why. Because these motherfuckers believe in nothing and just think they are owed votes because they're better than the other guys. No. That's how it fucking works, Democrats. You actually have to believe in stuff and be willing to fight for things. Not just be oh, well, the Baileys had told me that if we just continue to do nothing and say nothing and believe in nothing, well, therefore we're going to be able to win. That's how it works, folks, because we're owed these votes. Just like how the Democrats also fucking hate democracy, the Democratic establishment also fucking hates democracy. They are willing to tut any sort of left-wing progressive movement and are willing to do the barest of bare minimums in order to get into power so they can just sit on their asses with their thumbs up there in order to just have some mealy-mouthed, barely tweak around the edges sort of changes. It's just it's complete fucking nonsense, man.
I know very concretely what I believe. Bernie knows very concretely what he believes, that healthcare is a human right, and that the minimum wage should be a living wage in this country, that public colleges and universities should be tuition-free, that no person in this country, in the wealthiest nation in the history of the world...
Which is why these guys are very popular. They're very clear with the things that they believe in. They are extremely concise and consistent with the stuff that they advocate for and that they think should be brought about within the fucking country. Very, very consistent.
World should be too poor to live. And it is clear to communicate that as an individual. Now, to the question earlier as well, when they talk about Republicans and their success online, they have been successful because they have also been very clear, especially digitally, about what they believe. That women are inferior, and they do not deserve equal rights. That they believe that LGBTQ Americans are subhuman. That they believe and are circulating disgusting racial and white supremacist messaging that they are able to get away with digitally and online. And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them. And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature to divide us. And why to divide us? So that the same people who own those platforms, people like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Mark Zuckerberg, that these people can continue to get away with highway robbery in tax cuts and in order to fleece all of our pockets, cut our healthcare, keep our wages low, so that we remain fighting amongst ourselves while they make themselves richer.
She is correct here when she's saying this, but again, the thing is with Trump is that he at least tried to speak to affordability. He's lying, obviously, but the reason why it's effective is because the other side was just not talking about that issue whatsoever. Again, Kamala Harris basically just said nothing during the campaign trail and just expected people to vote for her because, like, look at the other guy, they're much worse. Honestly, you can make the argument that it was a campaign that was probably run worse than fucking Hillary Clinton, because at least she would make that argument. Kamala Harris wasn't even willing to really make that argument whatsoever. It was just like the same sort of like playbook, but worse from fucking Hillary Clinton. It's just like, well, no one's gonna fucking vote for you because they can just sense that this is the exact same sort of like position. And it's just like, okay, bro, like, it's complete fucking nonsense, man. It's just Democrats, you need to actually believe in things. If you want people to vote for you, you have to be willing to appeal to them. You can't just say, just because we're better than the other guys. It's like, well, people, broadly speaking, know that. They want to know what you're willing to do for them. And the reason why a bunch of people voted for the Republicans is because they were willing to say what they were going to do for them. It's a lie. They're full of shit, obviously. But, you can't blame people for being like, well, I'm desperate, I'm struggling, there's an affordability crisis, I need some kind of relief. Someone fucking say something, and that charlatan Trump was willing to say that stuff and lie about it, so he got a bunch of people to vote for him. Then, and of course, the misogyny, the racism, these sort of like baseline fears that a lot of people have because of the current economic anxieties that people are having, which have now been exacerbated and made worse. Keep in mind, that demographic that heavily went for Trump in specifically 2024 is leaving him in droves. They've understand that a lot of them are, oh, okay, this is just complete bullshit. I've been fucking swindled and we're gonna fucking start leaving this party. That's the main sort of like reasons for us why, because again, like, they're starting to realize that they've been fucking swindled and it's a bunch of fucking hooey and a bunch of bullshit. And yeah, you're 1000%, like, this is not a fucking unique thing. Of course, Boy Meets Minnie, this isn't unique. This is the same thing that Reagan, Bush, and every sort of conservative movement has been doing. It's just that Trump is being more sycophantic and boisterous about it. Very, very simply put. And he's trying to insulate and because he thinks like everyone's already capitulated to him. Not the case at all whatsoever. And he's trying to insulate himself in order to basically help catalyze the ultimate thing that he wants, and that is a dictatorship that he is the main figurehead of. Because that's ultimately the goal for Donald Trump. He just wants to be a fucking tin pot fucking dictator. He wants to do military occupation. He wants to fucking just take over the streets for himself and his fucking cronies. That's what he ultimately desires. And so the reason why it's not working out really all that much for him is because he's trying to insulate himself way too early. Like, we all know the kicking out of the press of the Pentagon, not fucking popular. Him trying to snub a bunch of federal workers, it's not fucking popular. The One Big Beautiful Bill, not fucking popular. And he's trying to further insulate himself more and more to try to protect himself from the fact that he is quite unpopular at the moment. Like, people are not liking what he is selling. Of course, he's always going to have his cult. There's always going to be a solid 30% chunk of the country that's always going to fucking vote for him no matter what, because they are just cultists. They are lost, and they are damned, obviously, to thinking that Donald Trump is their eternal fucking savior, because he's like a mega church pastor. This is a point that I've had it has also brought up, and I think it's a very, very accurate and correct point for them to bring up. The reason why they like Trump so much is because he's basically a mega church pastor. Like, that's really, really, really about it. But eventually that's only going to work for so long, and people's material conditions are going to get so bad that eventually the spell will break. Either that or that someone in their family is going to make the spell break. It's one of the two, right? Either someone in the family, someone saying like, dog, like, what you people are believing in and saying, like, you're getting fucking swindled. It's a bunch of bullshit and you're falling for it. Fell for it again award, obviously, for a lot of fucking Trump supporters. And it's just merely a matter of time for a lot of these people to wake up. And some of these people are just going to be eternally fucking lost. That's a lot of the main sort of like factors for as to what has led us to this current position.
And so in order for us to fight back against that, we must be clear about what we believe, have strong beliefs, and also be completely unwilling to bow to that kind of division and stand in solidarity with one another, especially when it is someone whose culture is different from ours or whose background we may not entirely understand, but that we honor, love, and see as our fellow Americans.
Representative Ocasio-Cortez, Senator Sanders, we have a lot more questions for both of you coming up. We're going to take a short break and be right back with our CNN Town Hall.
CNN Town Hall, taking a break.
And we're back with Senator Sanders and Representative Ocasio-Cortez here tonight for our CNN Town Hall. Representative, this next question is for you, and it comes from Ashley Vasquez, who is from Washington, D.C., and is an attorney with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, who is currently furloughed. I should note that Ashley and 4 of her colleagues have filed a lawsuit alleging that HUD retaliated against them for helping others exercise their rights under the Fair Housing Act. Ashley, what's your question tonight?
Thank you. Just to reiterate, I am speaking in my personal capacity, not representing the government, and I'm here with some of my colleagues who have been fired for speaking up and speaking out. So my question is about retaliation. Many career federal employees have been afraid to speak up. They've been afraid to push back on illegal orders, and some have even felt the need to comply in advance to prove their loyalty and protect their jobs. What would you say to those career federal employees, and is there anything at all that can be done to stop the retaliation and overcome this culture of fear?
I'm going to answer this question first. Speak out. Anonymously, of course. Speak out, leak to the press, file lawsuits. The Trump administration has been having a terrible record within the judicial system right now. Like, sue the fuck out of them. Just sue. And if they ever try to appeal and try to countersue, fight it. Like, unironically, try to fucking fight it. Find organizations that are willing to take your case in order to push back against a lot of the bullshit. Because again, with this earlier point that I was talking about, with the further insulation that Trump is trying to do right now, the courts are not on his side. One of the big reasons why Nazi Germany was as successful in the takeover as it was is because they had the judiciary system on their side, and they had a lot of people within the media that are on their side. Trump does not have these exact same conditions in place right now. In fact, like I said before, with the White House, with the Pentagon press corps being kicked out specifically, and him also trying to be as aggressive and belligerent to journalists as possible, that's not helping ingratiate them, right? Oh, yeah, you're also correct, Boy Meets Minnie. He does have the Supreme Court, which is a very powerful tool. He thinks that that's enough, right? But even then, most of his appeals that he makes trying to get up to the Supreme Court don't make it to the Supreme Court. They get fucking slapped down. Like, it's not gonna fucking work. And even if it gets up to the Supreme Court, they've been a bit more sycophantic in terms of a lot of their rulings. Way more fucking partisan. But there are some instances where they will, like specifically with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, where they'll just be like, no, like, you should fucking follow the order. You can cope and seat them out of Trump. So with the Supreme Court, it's more like 70-30 with them. They will very often side with Trump because they are just sycophantic to him. As far as I can tell, I don't think Kilmar Abrego Garcia got sent to Uganda. I don't think so. He's asking the Supreme Court for permission to deploy the Texas National Guard into Chicago. I think they already slapped that shit down, but that's a whole other fucking different story, right? Like, he just wants to get the Supreme Court to basically have his wizards from on high basically allow him to do whatever he wants. And that's just not exactly how it works. You need to have all levels of the judiciary on your fucking side if you actually want to be able to push for shit like this. But he doesn't have that currently. So that's one of the main reasons why it's not gotten as bad as it should. And here's the thing with a lot of the Democrats. Part of the reason for as to why they are doing nothing, and this is one of my main criticisms right now of J.B. Pritzker, is he's trying to defer a lot to the fucking courts. That's really fucking stupid. You should also have affirmative positions and be willing to be aggressive on stuff. Have like a spine and talk about like, well, I think this is some fucking bullshit and this is the problem that I have. Not just talk about like, well, we think the fucking goddamn courts are going to side with us on all of this stuff. So, yeah, we're not going to talk about what we really want and believe in the fucking affirmative. It's like, no. Be aggressive. Be boisterous and be bold and in your fucking face. Like, because you have to fight these motherfuckers. You can't just like sit there and just take it fucking sitting down. Like, you need to put up a fight, because that's what the constituency of the Democratic Party is, broadly speaking, expecting out of the Democrats. You need to be able to be willing to put up a fight. And very, very often with the Democratic Party, they don't necessarily do that very often. So put up a fight. Don't back down. Because, again, here's the thing with the Republican Party. They are just wrong. And if they get fucking sued for it, the judiciary is more than likely going to be willing to go after and side with you. But you can't just defer to them always, because there can always be some random bullshit that always slips through the fucking cracks. The judiciary is not perfect. So as has been said before, what you need to rely on the most is community bonds with one another and believe in the sort of like, well, we're going to be in a bit of a rough, bumpy ride, but we're going to be able to make it through together kind of a deal.
Thank you for your question. And, I think even all of us heard at the top of the show tonight that many of the federal workers here are not having, that CNN is not disclosing the party affiliation of federal workers that are here tonight. And that's for a reason. Precisely because of the question that you're asking. Because there's a fear over political retaliation by this administration and a singling out and isolating of career federal workers based on party affiliation, just in their participation in public civic discourse. And this is from a Republican Party that claims to believe in free speech, which we know from their actions in the last couple of months have actually been doing nothing but the opposite. No one should be afraid of retaliation
they've never cared about free
workplace.
Speech, right?
It's just unacceptable. And we're not just talking about the Department of Housing and Urban Development. We're seeing this as well at the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, where people's lives are literally on the line. People are being fired. We're not talking about political appointees. We're talking about career civil servants. People who have been scientists for 20 years, developing the next generation of chemotherapy treatments.
I mean, keep in mind also with RFK Jr., he is just a eugenicist and he just wants a bunch of people to die. Like, that's also another fucking problem as well. Like, the point is the death and fucking subjugation of a lot of people, especially with like RFK Jr., because, I mean, this is also the same dude who believes that all autistic people are like mentally degenerate, like ill weirdos who can't fucking pay taxes. Basically the exact same thing that the fucking Nazis said, that they deserve no sympathy and they should all just fucking suffer for, I don't know, being autistic for whatever fucking reason. Again, like abhorrent, wretched, miserable people.
The absolute public servants who, by the way, forego very often lucrative careers in the
1000%
sector because they believe in values of public service. That is who this administration is targeting. Over what? Well, we saw that this administration was directing everyday federal workers to put in their email signatures partisan messaging that is likely in violation of the Hatch Act. And so this intimidation that people are feeling.
This is also great point here by AOC specifically. Yeah, they've been basically using a bunch of like airports systems and a bunch of other fucking bullshit to talk about how the shutdown is the fault of the fucking goddamn Democrats, which a bunch of people have been backing away from. Like, we have had no part in any of this messaging, and we believe this is a fucking violation of the Hatch Act. A bunch of air traffic controllers have been coming out and fucking saying that, because again, like, what they're doing is a bunch of bullshit. Like, it's all about the fucking political subjugation for these people, like, fundamentally speaking.
Just about expressing themselves. They feel that this administration is trying to pressure them into breaking the law, or else they will lose their job.
Well, and to follow up with you on that, in terms of the federal layoffs that the White House has been warning more will come if the government stays shut down, and they're saying Democrats will take the blame for that. They also say that they're pulling funding for a lot of projects. The president described them as Democrat-oriented projects. One of that is they're withholding about $18 billion in funding for 2 infrastructure projects in your state. How do you and can you fight back against that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean...
Oh, by the way, those are all funds that are earmarked. He can't do that. That's fucking illegal. So it's just like, okay, bro, whatever.
Once again, this administration is making a foolish mistake by saying that they think that investments in housing and in energy are so-called Democrat priorities, cutting the EPA as a Democrat priority. You know what this country looked like before the EPA? Rivers in rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas poor middle-class communities getting poisoned and dumped on by corporations like Deloitte and 3M, pouring chemicals into these places, and they want to call it a Democratic priority. And that's why they want to eliminate the FDA. Well, you know what?
I think she means DuPont, right? I know there was like some dumb fuck conservatives talking about like, Des Moines is like not that company, blah blah blah, and it's just like, okay, whatever. I mean, if you want to be like stupid and fucking annoying and nitpicky about it, yeah, she obviously meant DuPont. Like, whatever. Like, nice meme, dude.
You're damn well right that it's a Democratic priority to keep people from getting poisoned, from identifying dangerous chemicals that are being dumped and causing cancer in people without their knowledge. You're damn right that it's a Democratic priority to bring down the cost of housing and mortgages and rent. And you're damn right that it's a Democratic priority to raise the minimum wage in this country, to allow people to get a fair shot at the American dream. If they want to say that that's a Democratic priority, they're right. And they are targeting all of us with this. And so I do think it's important for us to remember that, and that these priorities are actually not partisan at all.
And Senator Sanders, on this front, when we look at funding that Congress has already approved, one thing Democrats want to try to do here is to limit the White House's and the president's ability to rescind funding that's been approved by Congress as you're negotiating a deal, or if we try to get closer to
No, she meant to talk about DuPont with like the PFAs and the forever chemicals and shit like that.
Is that something that's a deal breaker for you?
Absolutely. You know, we're beginning, one of the things that frightens me, Caitlin, is we begin to accept as normal the unconstitutional, illegal, and outrageous actions on the part of the White House. Can you imagine anybody ever thinking that it would be acceptable for somebody to say, oh, people in New York and California and Vermont, they didn't vote for me. I'm not going to put federal funds into those states. You didn't vote for me. We right now have a president who is targeting the Attorney General of New York State, who is targeting a United States Senator because they did their jobs. Former head of the FBI. What he is trying to do and what ICE raids and knocking down doors are about is to make all of you afraid. You're a federal employee, don't speak up. You're a government official, don't speak up. You're in a law firm that somehow had clients taking on Trump, don't speak up because they're going to punish you. You are on CNN, we're going to sue you if you ask the wrong questions. My friends, what this is about is a movement toward authoritarianism, intimidating us all, making us afraid. And you stop and you think, what is this country about? What makes us the great country that people all over the world have always envied, look to? It's the word freedom. It's the right to dissent. You disagree with me, that's fine. We have free elections. You want to beat me in an election? Go for it. You're a newspaper writer, write what you want. It's not having a president trying to intimidate you, sue you, cut your funding because you disagree with him. And that is the issue that we've got to also address, not just healthcare, not just housing. It's whether or not we stand up for the freedoms that millions of Americans fought and died to defend.
Are you either of you going to demand that they release the funding for those two
Absolutely,
projects
of course.
from the government?
Of course. Well, you know, here's what we have to say. Not only should this infrastructure funding be released, but in New York, which this administration is targeting in some of these infrastructure cancellations, some of the projects that they have canceled have been large-scale wind energy projects. And again, they think this is a Democratic priority, right? Because it's wind energy. But this is energy, period. In New York State, Con Ed bills, that's our energy utility, Con Ed bills are set.
Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, a bunch of energy bills are about to skyrocket and go up significantly in terms of pricing, simply due to the fact that these motherfuckers are trying to cut out a bunch of green energy incentives because they think that, oh, it's only the Democrats who want all that stuff. When in reality, it's like, no, it's also the Republicans that also are benefiting from that. And everyone's bills are going up significantly as a result. So it's just like, okay, well, you know, that's cool. That's great. Because again, for these people, it's just fundamentally speaking about making people suffer. First and foremost, first order principles with these people. Like, they just want people to not have to rely on any form of public service, so they have to rely on the private services instead. And I mean, you know, part of it is also like a lot of political retribution in the minds of Trump as well. Like, he wants to just go after those who he thinks are his fucking political enemies as well. That's also another factor. We can't forget about that.
To go up almost another $100 next year because of those cancellations. That's affecting, and it's jacking up the prices in Mike Lawler's district, in Nicole Maliotakis' district, in Republican districts across the state. It is affecting, and they are jacking up the prices on MAGA voters too. It is killing all of us.
Yeah.
And so while they think that sabotaging energy projects in this country, which by the way, oil and gas, much more volatile, that goes up and down all the time, that they think sabotaging these projects are somehow owning the lids. No.
Well, I should note that Mike Lawler has told us he's actually trying to get the administration to reverse that holding on that funding. Senator Sanders, on the shutdown.
If I might.
We can ask you on the shutdown. I've got a housing question for you coming up.
All right, I'm happy to answer that. But let me also just add on to what Alexandria said. I'll give you an example of cutting quote-unquote Democratic programs. I managed to get a $7 billion provision in the Inflation Reduction Act. You know what it does? It will help low-income and working-class people install solar panels on their rooftops. If you have solar on your rooftop, you know what? Your electric bill will go down 70, 80, 90%. We're going to create all kinds of jobs doing that, building the solar, installing the solar. We're suing them, but they cut that program. A Democratic program. Significantly reduce electric costs for working class people in America. That is a mentality, and by the way, it's part of the mentality of Trump, which thinks that climate change is a hoax.
Oh, well, they've warned that more has to come the longer the shutdown goes on. Senator Bobby Harms is joining us. She's a
Yeah, also, like, we have solar panels on top of our roofs. We did that fucking privately. The city partially helped with that. We get a pretty significant reduction in terms of electric bills as a result.
bartender from Horn Lake, Mississippi. She is a Democrat. She submitted her question via video.
A Democrat from Mississippi.
Indeed.
All right, there we go.
My American dream has turned into a nightmare. My family was only days away from closing on a USDA loan for our dream home. Then came news of the shutdown, and now we face uncertainty. Our lease is up, and now we have to move. The shutdown is costing us our chance to live our dream. What are you doing to end this stalemate and help restore faith in our elected officials, the people I help to choose to guard my American dream?
We're going to do everything that we can to bring an end to this terrible shutdown, which is hurting you and which is hurting 1 million federal employees and millions of people who use federal services. But also, we have got to be cognizant that if Trump wins this fight, our healthcare system could well collapse, and tens of thousands of people could die every single year.
Do you think Trump could win this fight?
No, we're going to win it. But son, I don't want to look at it like a political fight. We're going to win it because the American people are on our side. If you are, or you're a Republican congresswoman, you're going to go back to your district, and people are going to say to you, why are you doubling my insurance premiums? Why did you throw me off of healthcare? That's a fight that Republicans are not going to win.
Well, and to Bobby's question, Representative, earlier you said that House Speaker Mike Johnson said he wants this shutdown to be one of the longest in history. I believe he said it could be one of the longest in history. He was saying that more of a warning about how long it could go on. I don't think it was a threat. But I do think people want to know how long they should brace for this to potentially go on for. Do you think by Thanksgiving the government could still be shut down?
I mean, I would certainly hope not. My hope is that we're able to resolve this as quickly as possible. I'm ready to negotiate. Bernie's ready to negotiate. I mean, we are all open and ready to.
Is anyone actually negotiating right
No,
now?
but let me reiterate one point.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, Alex. Yeah, a bunch of these people are definitely gonna be fucking plants. Like, let's be quite honest here. Like, a Democrat from fucking Mississippi. Yeah, they do exist, but is this actually true? I don't know about that one.
Republicans aren't in town. How do you negotiate with people who refuse even to show up to do their job? They're on vacation for what? No.
Yes. House Republicans have been on vacation for a
But the
while.
Republican senators are here, and House Speaker Mike Johnson, we've had him on. He said, we've done our job. We passed the clean CR in the House. It's now up to the Senate to make these
They
negotiations.
need to pick up a phone, Caitlin. They need to pick up a phone. They're saying that they're doing all this work. They are twiddling their thumbs and talking to each other. It is actually an unconscionable abdication and refusal to work. They refuse. I've never seen people who hate working so much in my life. I mean, genuinely, they won't even pick up the phone. They won't. If I were Mike Johnson, you should be in that office negotiating with Hakeem Jeffries every damn day until we reopen this government. And any day that you don't do that is a failure. It is a failure. And until there is accountability for people who refuse to work, then we're going to continue to be in this cycle. So,
dude, like, for all the fucking bluster and I don't know, like, weird LARP shit that these motherfuckers constantly talk about how they want to be they love to work, blah blah blah, and all this like fucking bullshit. Nah, they don't fucking like working at all. Why do you think like all the House Republicans immediately got fucking sent off to vacation out of that? Nah, like they don't actually like working. They too, like the Democratic Party, also if they could just like sit around, twiddle their thumbs, and just like do nothing, they would. They'd have no problem with that. Like, it's all about the fucking suffering for these people. It's complete fucking bullshit, dude.
in the Senate, the Senate Majority Leader is John Thune. He should be negotiating with Chuck Schumer. President Trump should be having congressional leaders in the White House. Do you see that every day? No, you don't.
No.
Because they're playing golf and they're going to Mar-a-Lago, and the House and Republicans in the House have been on vacation for weeks now. We are here in Washington, D.C. We are ready to work. We are ready to strike a deal. We're not here to just be my way and the highway about everything. But what we're also not going to accept is a complete collapse of the American healthcare system, so that just because the Republican Party has decided to take 1 million federal workers hostage.
Can I ask you on that, because you
Sure.
before have said a government shutdown is like hostage taking when it comes to paychecks, because you came into office actually during a government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history. So what would you say to Republicans who say you're doing the hostage taking this time?
Once again, pick up the phone. They need to pick up the phone. And it's not hostage taking if they refuse to clock in, right? We're all
That's
clocked in.
true.
We're all clocked in to do the job. They're not even here. And so it's not hostage taking as much as the fact that they refuse to show up and do the job.
Once again, the law is in the Senate. They need 60 votes. They don't have 60 votes. They've got 53 or maybe 52. That means you have to sit down and talk to the other side. It is not complicated. They are not doing that.
Yeah, each side is saying that no one's talking. And speaking of what's happening in the Senate, Senator Sanders, this next question is for you. It's from Rohan Naval, who's joining us here tonight. Thank you so much for being here. He said he's a Republican.
Yeah, like, listen, at this point, like, they should just keep reiterating the same point. Of course, like, CNN is biased against the fucking Democratic Party because of the fact that their right-wing dipshit CEO also just wants to have more capitulation to the Republican Party specifically. It's really just one of those cases and situations where it's just like, oh my god, yeah, you're just not willing to fucking negotiate. Under every fucking circumstance and every fucking instance, not the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party have said, like, we're willing to negotiate. We want to talk. We want to have something worked out. Blah 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 blah. And consistently, the one side has just not been wanting to go along at all with the other side. Because again, orders from on high, specifically from the Republican Party, they said like, oh hey, you know what we're going to do? Oh, we're just going to basically just say, fuck the other side. We don't give a shit about the other side. We have the votes anyways. We can just go ahead and just go with and do with like whatever the fuck we want. So it's just like, okay, bro, like, you know what? Fuck you. We've had enough of this bullshit. So it's just like, all right, little dudes, like, if you're not willing to capitulate and you're not willing to fucking negotiate, you can just go fuck yourselves. Like, at this point, like, we're going to force these motherfuckers to come to the fucking negotiating table. And by the way, every single fucking Democrat, this is how they should be negotiating and talking, not negotiating, but they should be constantly doing every fucking media tour, having every fucking press conference, and just constantly talking online, saying like, it's the fault of the Republicans are the problem. We've been trying to negotiate. These people are not willing to negotiate. They can go fuck themselves. And just keep saying that until, like, the cows come home. Obviously, there's always going to be some people that are wholeheartedly just cultists, not willing to listen to any, like, voice of reason, and they don't give a shit about any of that stuff. They're never going to fucking listen anyways. Those people are fucking too far gone. Just keep talking about how this is the fault of the Republicans and just appeal to the independents. Because, again, majority of independents, they think that this is Trump's fault.
Republican and a student at American University, and that you intern for the conservative group Americans for Tax Reform. What's your question?
Yes, thank you for your time, Senator. How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This
Oh
is
boy,
a leadership that said
conservative.
it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people?
Oh, Bernie saw the little fucking face this fucking Brahmanite fucking made. Boy meets mini, we got a fucking Brahmanite over here. We're gonna do some fucking casteism right now, boy meets mini, against these like little fucking dipshits. Yeah, we got fucking Vivek clones talking about like we're not going to talk about the fucking goddamn leadership of fucking Chuck Schumer or some shit. It's like, nah, get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. It's not because of fucking Chuck Schumer. No. Like, don't fucking give any of this bullshit. Again, Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, on the day when the shutdown was about to happen, went in to fucking negotiate with Trump and the fucking vice president. You know what they did? Snubbed them. They were just like, nah, fuck you, go fuck yourselves. And they posted an AI meme in fucking response. And you want to know what the Republicans party was doing in order to defend that fucking action? They were saying like, oh, well, the president's he's just a little jokester. He's a little prankster. He's just a funny, goofy little guy. And it's just like, get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. You do not negotiate with terrorists under any circumstance. These people are not honest actors. They are terrorists. There is no point in fucking giving anything to these motherfuckers because they are wholeheartedly incapable of wanting to, listen to any of these sort of democratic voices or any of the other people's voices because they feel like they have won and that they are willing to essentially make everyone capitulate to them. That's what they fucking feel like. They feel like that they are the main ones in power right now and that they want to make people be subjugated to them. That's what it fucking is. Trump thinks that he is the one in total control when that is not the fucking case.
In the country and then make massive cuts to healthcare for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
I think, look, as I have said, there are 53 Republicans in the Senate, correct?
Yeah.
They need 60. What does that mean? It means you have to talk to the other side. Mike Johnson is not talking. John Thune is not talking.
By the way, the only reason why this stupid, dumb motherfucker is even making this talking point is, first off, the exact same fucking bullshit that Mike Johnson and fucking Donald Trump and like JD Vance, all these motherfuckers have been fucking saying. Because again, the only reason why they're allowed to even have this fucking talking point to begin with was because of that vote on fucking cloture that Chuck Schumer decided to fucking pussy out on. When everyone in the fucking party was saying, oh, do not fucking whip up votes to fucking vote for this shit. Do not do it. Do not do it. Do not do it. Chuck Schumer went against his party and he fucking did it. And that's why we're in the current positions that we're in. Again, you do not negotiate with terrorists.
President Trump is not talking. That is the problem.
Well, they say their position is reopen the government and then we'll talk. Who changes their strategy first? Who's going to blink first? I think is a question a lot of people have.
Well, I certainly hope.
Yeah, also, by the way, this other fucking talking point of open the government first and then we're going to negotiate is fucking stupid. That is just a capitulation. And Chuck Schumer, to his credit, is recognizing that is just a capitulation. It's like, why should we? Like, you guys have been actively fucking us over, so fuck that. Yeah, you're trying to give the Republicans exactly what they fucking want. Don't give them what they want. They don't deserve to have what they want. Because what they want, ultimately, is to just make people suffer.
This is not a game. I mean, a lot of lives are at stake in terms of our federal employees who are hurt, in terms of tens of millions of people who are going to suffer from these healthcare proposals. So I hope the Republicans do the right thing, come to the damn table and talk.
Can I ask you, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, on that? Because we actually heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson today on Chuck Schumer. He said he's supporting the shutdown to prevent a primary challenge from his left wing. Do you think that's what's driving Senator Schumer here?
No, absolutely not. It's such an insane suggestion, and in fact, it speaks to how desperate they are. This claim has been, Mike Johnson's been saying this, John Toon's been saying this. They are saying this because they are refusing to do their job. They're grasping for straws. They're trying to make this about political tabloids and political intrigue and horse.
Well, we don't know exactly if that's the case, Boy Meets Minnie, because Chuck Schumer is very, very fucking old. He might retire, right? Like, when his next election, I think, is in 2028, I think. More than likely, he's probably, because he's going to be in his fucking age. What is Chuck Schumer's age? Chuck Schumer... 75, I think. Let me double check that. Chuck Schumer, he's 74 years old right now. Yeah, he's really fucking old. And his next election is I think in 2028. He'll be like 78 by that time. He's probably gonna fucking retire, I'll be quite honest. Like, he's not gonna keep going on. I don't think so. Given also how unpopular he is right now, I don't think he's gonna keep going, personally. I mean, he's actually about to be 75. Yeah, he's about to be 75. And by the time the next re-election bid, he's probably going to be 79. So, I don't think so. Is she not going to grasp onto power like Dianne Feinstein? Or he? I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, because what Dianne Feinstein did was very, very unpopular and everyone fucking hated it. I don't think, like, Chuck Schumer's going to do the same thing. I don't think so. Like, he is at a historic low fucking approval rating. I don't think he is. Like, people do not like Chuck Schumer specifically. So, personally, I don't really fucking see it. I think he's probably going to retire. I'll be quite honest. I think he's probably going to retire as soon as this is over for him. So, I mean, maybe we'll have to wait and see ultimately what happens. I don't think it's necessarily about the fact that AOC is going to do a primary challenge. We don't know exactly what AOC is going to... She definitely wants higher office. That is for certain. That's not a fucking question. She wants higher office. If she wants to run for the president or if it's the Senate for her, I don't necessarily know. Ultimately, that's a question that's kind of up in the air. So Mike Johnson could be correct, but again, for him, ultimately, the only reason why he's saying that is that's a deflection.
Races, exactly the kinds of things that people are sick of in this country. We're sick of it. We're sick of talking about these horse races, and we're sick of leaders who only want to spend their time talking about that instead of talking about real issues that affect our lives. Instead of talking about healthcare, instead of talking about wages, instead of talking about having air that's drinkable, air that's breathable, and water that's drinkable. And it is honestly astonishing to me that the Speaker of the House would waste his time on something so inane and silly instead of actually worrying about his own constituents who are suffering at the hands of his leadership.
But are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
I mean, no.
Let me jump in on this one. This is
what we're talking about.
Like, yeah, this is a distraction. Like, yeah, this is a distraction. It doesn't matter at this point. Like, who the fuck cares if AOC is going to challenge Chuck Schumer? But again, the reason why Caitlin Collins is pressing in on this is because it's tantalizing, it's juicy, it's dramatic, fundamentally speaking. That's a way more interesting thing to talk about in comparison to, I don't know, like, why Chuck Schumer is just uninteresting and, like, incredibly fucking unpopular. No, it's completely fucking irrelevant. Like, let's be quite honest here. Like, it's all, because again, the media, fundamentally speaking, since it is privatized, since it is about making a profit for them first and foremost, they have to do everything possible and push for whatever story that's going to make the most money, first and foremost, right? It is private media. It is a private entity. So again, like, for people who are more honest, like Bernie Sanders and AOC, they care more about serving their constituents. They're probably not thinking about the fact that AOC is looking at primary fucking Chuck Schumer. Like, who cares about any of that bullshit? But for the media, that's an interesting story.
That's exactly what we're talking about. We have a country that is falling apart. We had a housing crisis, a healthcare crisis, an education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, a corrupt campaign finance system, and the media says, "Oh, you're going to run." Nobody cares. So what we're talking about?
Nobody cares. There's the House Speaker and President Trump and the Vice President saying it.
Right.
Pardon?
Well, of course, they're saying it to deflect attention away from the
Well,
media.
they're doing that to deflect attention. Like, again, it's a distraction. It's a distraction. It's nonsense.
Exactly.
And he'll tell you what the real issue is. Let's see if CNN talks about it. We're living in the richest country in the history of the world, right? All right, you tell me why we're the only nation not to guarantee health care to all people, the only nation not to guarantee paid family and medical leave, why we have a $7.25 an hour minimum wage, why we have 800,000 people sleeping out on the street, why we have a president who denies the reality of climate change, why we have oligarchs on top who have more and more power every day. Let's talk about that issue, not our own political future. She'll decide that.
On that note, Senator Sanders, Representative Ocasio-Cortez, we have many more questions coming up. We'll be right back from our CNN Town Hall right after this.
That's why I fucking hate American media so much. Like, God. And you can tell, this motherfucker also hates American media so much because it's all about the salaciousness, the drama, the drama cycle constantly with these motherfuckers. They don't actually care about doing real journalism and real fucking news, these motherfuckers. Like, for them, it's all about the drama sloppy toppy. Yeah, gotta have my drama slop.
Welcome back to our CNN Town Hall with Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Ocasio-Cortez. Senator, I'd like to ask you about some breaking news that happened today and what we had heard from the White House. The president confirmed that there are CIA actions happening in Venezuela. We've seen multiple strikes happening on what they allege are drug boats out in open waters. Are you worried about this escalating further from here?
Well, I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, I've already done a video on this. Obviously, it's illegal. He's just attacking random boats in the middle of international waters because, again, what failed? 2019 Venezuelan coup attempt. He's still mad about the fact that his fucking coup attempt failed. But yeah, he's still mad about the fact that his fucking coup attempt failed miserably when Juan Guaido in a fucking goddamn trench coat showed up with his boys and got caught out by some fucking Venezuelan fishermen. He's still salty about it, and he understands that his approval rating is fucking tanking, so he wants to do a fucking war in order to distract people from the fact that he's unpopular, nobody fucking likes him, and he's, well, ostensibly, like, a very, very weirdo, like, piece of shit. Like, that's what it is with this motherfucker. He just wants to have a distraction from the fact that his numbers are fucking flailing. That's what it is.
About the president acting in an unconstitutional way. Constitution is pretty clear. You want to go to war, you got to go to Congress. You got to need authority from Congress. Think about what kind of world we live in because governments are busy bombing and attacking other countries at will. So that concerns me very much. So yeah, I am concerned.
And his argument is he's saving lives because he's alleging that they're
come to the Congress and explain to us why you are doing that. If it makes sense, you'll get support.
Okay, so you're not saying you're against it. You're just saying you'd like to have
I'm saying that the president is acting unilaterally in violation of the Constitution. That's a pretty big deal.
And Representative Ocasio-Cortez, another question tonight when it comes to...
Yeah, that is him saying that he's fucking against Caitlyn. Like, he is against it, right? Saying that it's like, well, if he thinks his argument is correct, then he should come to Congress. Why is he not going to Congress to do that?
How the shutdown is playing out here in Washington. I want to bring in Jill Ireland, who is a Democrat who works in insurance. She's from Santa Barbara, California, and her question is appearing via video tonight.
Hello. My question is, do you think that taxpayers should be paying for the medical care of immigrants that are in the country illegally? Thank you.
Well,
A Democrat, by the way, working in insurance. Okay, bro. First off, bullshit. Not happening. Medicare and Medicaid is not available for fucking goddamn illegal migrants, first off. Also, this is all about a fucking lie from the Trump administration saying that because migrants are allowed to go into emergency rooms, that means they're getting fucking healthcare paid for them. I'm going to say this again. Do you really want in the United States of America to have a bunch of migrants just out in the streets constantly fucking dying from easily preventable diseases and not being able to go to the emergency room as a result of that? Really? Is that what you motherfuckers want? Well, in the mind of the Republican, yes, they do want that because for them, the cruelty is the point. They just want people to die and suffer. Whereas with the Democrats, it's just like, dog, like, we don't want just random illegal migrants to just be constantly dying of, like, preventable disease. We are the richest country on the fucking planet. If we want to provide the basic tenets of care for everyone, then that's like, fine. And also, the Republican Party are also the main ones who are consistently defunding and taking away funds for the immigration courts that would help process all of that. Like, that's what it is. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's ridiculous.
We already know, and this is a common lie that Republicans have been repeating, that this shutdown is about Democrats trying to provide health care to the undocumented. And we already know that it is federal law and federal statute that undocumented people cannot be covered by the ACA. They cannot be covered by Medicaid. They cannot be covered by Medicare. Period. That is the law of the land. There are plenty of federal laws on the books. Now, the vice president has been trafficking this other misconception, saying that the emergency Medicaid program is providing health care to undocumented people. That too is a complete, just, I don't even know, whole cloth storytelling, we should say. The truth of the matter is,
no, just call what it is. It's a lie. They're lying. They're lying on purpose because it's all about scapegoating with the Republican Party, fundamentally speaking. They know that their policies and their positions are dog shit, so they are willing to scapegoat the migrant instead of actually addressing the real material problems and conditions that are currently on the ground. It is about the subjugation, fundamentally, with these people.
that we have a federal law, as it should be, that any person who walks into a hospital in desperate need of medical attention receives that medical attention regardless of their insurance status and regardless of who they are. And I don't know about you, but me as a human being, I don't want to live in a world where if a human being is struck by a car or is getting rushed into a hospital, that the people in the ER surgical room are asking for your insurance information or asking for documents before they save your life.
But can I ask you on this to follow
Oh, that just becomes like also bureaucratic fucking nightmare. So again, like for all the constant yapping and talk that Republicans do about how they hate the state bureaucracy, like, do you really believe in your heart of hearts for one fucking second that if what they want is for when immigrants show up to the ER, they have to fucking present their paper? Because again, this has to be done for literally everyone. Because listen, a random white person could also be a fucking immigrant coming into the ER trying to get free healthcare. You don't know that. They have to have their immigration papers on them consistently, their passports on them or something. It's ludicrous. It's ridiculous. Just fucking give them the care that they need. It's just easier that way.
Because you said that it is federal law that people, undocumented immigrants, can't get Medicare, Medicaid, the Obamacare subsidies. Do you believe that should be the law, though, or do you think undocumented immigrants should have access to federally funded health?
I believe personally that healthcare is a human right. I believe that every person should be able to go to the doctor, but I believe that right now federal law is the federal law, and that absolutely, that U.S. citizens and people who pay into our programs.
Nah, she should be taking an affirmative position on that. I don't agree with this. Yeah. You should just give them the fucking healthcare that they need. If they need fucking healthcare, they can go in. Like, fuck it, yeah. If these states are... Because there are states that allow illegal migrants on certain programs that they have designed in order to help provide healthcare for them as their immigration proceedings go forward. Because they understand that it takes a long time for that, and they're going to be in the fucking country anyways. So it's just like, oh, okay, fuck it, whatever. Yeah, Medi-Cal allows it, exactly. But it's not Medicare or Medicaid. Yeah, exactly. Like, California's public healthcare services allow stuff like that, and that's like a state-by-state sort of thing. Because they know that there's a lot of illegal migrants in there, that they work and they pay taxes, and so they should have some fucking access to healthcare as a result. But again, as I'm going to reiterate consistently, for the Republican Party, they just want people to suffer. Like, that's all that it is with these people. They are just okay with causing as much suffering as possible for migrants. Because for them, fundamentally speaking, it is all about subjugation and maintenance of hierarchy and control with these people. If they can cause suffering for people, fantastic, excellent. The Republicans will do everything possible to cause that fucking suffering. That's what it is.
To be covered by these programs. And I mean, once again, I do believe that the federal laws that we have on the books are appropriate.
If you could choose, do you believe that should be changed?
Pardon?
If you could choose, do you believe that the federal law should be changed?
I believe in a single-payer healthcare system where if you go in and you need a doctor, you can get the medical attention that you need.
Okay, let me just...
Sure. Okay.
You know what demagogues like Trump always do? Instead of addressing the real crises facing our country, why are we the only major country not to guarantee healthcare while spending twice as much per person? We spend $14,500. It's a good debate, right? Let's have that debate. You hearing Trump talking about that? No. Why are we having a housing crisis when millions of people are spending 40-50% of their income? Let's discuss that. You know what demagogues do, guys? What they do is they find a powerless minority. In Europe during the 30s, it was the Jews. Then it's the Gypsies. In America, it's historically been black people. It's been gay people. It's been Latino people. You name your pick. You got a powerless minority. Let's blame them for everything.
It's true.
But you know what they don't blame? Somehow or another, they don't blame the billionaires who run the country. Because those guys finance their campaigns.
This is true,
They're
by
trying
Bernie.
to divide us up. And what we have got to do is understand we are the majority. Most Americans think healthcare is a right. Most Americans think we should have a minimum wage, which is a living wage. Most Americans don't believe we should give tax breaks to billionaires and cut back on education. Let's bring our people together, not fall for the demagoguery of Trump and his friends.
And by the way, this is not the first time that Republicans and the administration does things like this. We have something on the books known as the Hyde Amendment, which prevents women in this country from being able to access reproductive health care services and abortion care services if they are on Medicaid or if they have any federally subsidized health care. And so targeting minorities, targeting vulnerable populations, making healthcare controversial in this country is exactly how they keep us fighting and distracted. These policy debates are more than substantive, merited. We can have these conversations as we have, but let's not trick ourselves into thinking that they somehow are fighting for every American to have healthcare, to improving healthcare, to expanding healthcare, when what they're far more interested in doing is protecting the insurance companies' profit margins that are forcing you to pay more money for less care.
Can I ask on that? Because Speaker Johnson said something to the effect the other day that Republicans...
I mean, again, no fucking notes. I mean, she's just correct there. Yeah, it is a good thing that he did point, that Bernie did point that out. I mean, it is ultimately a fucking distraction with the Republican Party. They don't give a shit about any of this stuff.
To the party that wants to fix healthcare by addressing issues with it, as he says they did in the One Big Beautiful Bill. What would you say to that?
Excuse me, did he really say that?
Yeah, he did.
They're trying to fix healthcare by throwing 15 million people off of it?
They're being
and doubling
serious
premiums?
about it.
Is that how they fix healthcare? That's a kind of strange way to fix healthcare. Look,
that's true.
Here's the point. The United States, richest country on earth, only country not to guarantee healthcare to all people. You go up to Canada, is their system perfect? No. You have a serious operation, you're in the hospital for a month. You know what your bill is when you get out? Zero. They spend half as much as we do per capita. So you got a healthcare system, which is a disaster, except for one thing.
Like, literally, if I want to go into the doctor to get some, like, random fucking bullshit checked out, I can just do that. All I have to do is provide my health card. Just be like, okay, I made this appointment. can I get this thing checked out? Like, yeah, sure. And then I don't have to pay anything. If they say I don't have to take any particular like drugs or pharmaceuticals, sometimes you got to pay a little bit for it, like $20 maybe, depending on what you're getting. But typically, I've not had to pay any more than like $20 for like some random fucking supplements or pharmaceutical drugs I've needed. Most I've paid is like $40 for like 3 different little pills that I needed. I think like I have my fucking because I had like some fungal shit growing on my fucking chest and stuff. The special creams I needed to take was about $30. It's pretty easy, and it took care of my fucking problem. So, like I had a problem. I went in, got it checked out, and they're just like, oh, here, yeah, just go get this shit, blah blah blah. And went into the fucking pharmacy. It was really easy. I had to wait a little bit because there's a line, a little bit of a line. That's okay. And they had to prep the fucking drugs, and they're just like, okay, $30. Okay, leave. That's it. Very, very easy, very simple.
Here's the good news. Drug companies last year charging us the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, made over $100 billion in profit. Insurance companies make tens of millions of dollars. They pay their CEOs $20, $30 million a year. The function of the American healthcare system, and Mr. Johnson is not going to address it. The function of this system is to guarantee huge profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies, and they could care less about the needs of ordinary people.
Well, I know you and I have discussed before, there are areas with the president lowering drug prices where you agree with some of the steps that they're taking or at least trying to take. But on this front, I want to get back to the questions because we have another one for you, Representative. This is from Devin Scalco, who's here tonight from Haynesville, Illinois, who works in medical sales. He says he voted Republican in 2024. Thank you for being here. What's your question?
One reason Americans are losing faith in government is that neither side seems willing to acknowledge when the other gets something right. It feels like any success from the opposing party must automatically be discredited. Don't Democrats risk alienating voters by refusing to give credit, even to Trump, when a policy or action genuinely benefits the country? Isn't part of restoring trust in leadership being honest enough to say, yes, that worked?
Yeah, well, I think...
I mean, okay, I want to answer this question first before. It's not a terrible question. It's not a bad question. The problem is and generally speaking, the reason why a lot is as incredibly partisan as it is right now is because, yeah, very naive, but sure. The reason why it's as partisan as it is because of Trump. He's the one who has made this as ridiculously partisan as it is. Listen, I've praised Trump, some of his policies before. I thought the first step back to that Trump put in his first term, it's good policy. It's good policy. It's good, right? It's something. I've talked about a lot of good provisions within the IRA, within Build Back Better, that Joe Biden has passed. A lot of the antitrust shit that he was also going forward with Lena Khan specifically, and a lot of the generally significantly more pro-worker, pro-union stuff that Joe Biden has pushed. You want to know who has never acknowledged any of those good policies and provisions? Oh, the Republicans, consistently. Whereas you'll have Democrats talk about, it's like, yeah, we can talk about the First Step Act is generally fucking good, right? I do agree that there is a lot of like partisanship that exists within American politics, and this is the sort of environment that exists right now. Who made that environment? It was Trump. He created the environment, as well as the conservative punditry, as well as all the fucking politicians and the apparatus that exists around the Republican Party. They are the main people who have created this environment.
We're more than willing to be able to come together in the things that are most important to us. I work regularly with Republicans in the House, and I applaud when we're able to pursue work together. I'll give you one example. Towards the end of last year.
Also, AOC literally actually gave an example of that right now, working on a pro-woman bill with Malliotakis. And if you know anything about Malliotakis, she's a fucking dumbass. Like, she's an idiot. But she's working with AOC on a specific pro-woman bill. Like, it is. Like, sometimes they want to work on stuff and they're actually honest people, but very often they're not.
Republicans and Democrats both champion something known as PBM reform, pharmacy benefit manager reform. This is a middleman in our prescription drugs that the insurers use and lots of other folks use to jack up the price of your prescriptions. And Republicans have been going after PBM reform. In fact, I spoke with the chairman of one of the committees, and he said, I want to go AOC on PBMs. There is possibility for us to work with one another. President Trump, in fact, had endorsed it at the end of December, and I am fully in support of this effort to make sure that we reform PBMs. Now, politics did get in the way. This was at the end of last year. Elon Musk sent a tweet. We had it ready to go, and this was going to change the lives of millions of people and small businesses across the United States, small neighborhood pharmacists. And
Dude, the amount of money that people have to pay, because again, this is why you need to get rid of the current for-profit healthcare system that exists within the United States of America. There's just a rapacious mafia fucking middleman currently in the way that's making everything worse for the average fucking American. Because again, like I've said before, you can't negotiate with these fucking terrorists. You can't negotiate with them. Fuck these motherfuckers. You can't fucking deal with these charlatans and these fucking freaks. Like, within the broader healthcare sort of system that exists, the for-profit healthcare system that exists within the United States of America. Because, again, these are just people who are profiting off of the death and destruction of different people within the United States of America. Like, and they just want to make a bunch of money in probably one of the most unscrupulous, like, wretched, horrible ways imaginable. So, like, you can't negotiate with these people. Like, they are also wretched, evil, and fucking horrible. So, like, it's one of those situations where it's just like, you have to get rid of the system. And it's going to save companies a lot of money, small businesses a lot of money. It's going to save the average American a lot of money, because guess what? Now you don't have copays, you don't have premiums, you don't have to give all this money to this, like, rapacious mafia middleman that just wants their fucking cut. Because that's all that they are. These health insurance companies and these, a lot of these, like, pharmaceutical companies and, like, middle managers and stuff. Get rid of them, because all they fundamentally want is just a cut of a pie that they should not have any part in.
Saw was that Elon Musk sent a tweet. Donald Trump agreed with it. House Republicans agreed with it. Senate Republicans agreed with it. I was more than happy to champion this because it's the right thing to do, and that's what should come first. Now, a tweet made it go all the way, kind of can the whole thing. But should President Trump, revive this? Should House Republicans revive this? I would be more than happy, effusive, as I have been in the past, about the ability to call a win, because it's not about whether it's a win for Republicans or a win for Democrats. It's about whether it's a win for people.
Can I ask you on that front? I don't think I've seen you say anything publicly, maybe I'm wrong, about the ceasefire in Gaza. Do you believe President Trump deserves credit for that?
Well, I find there have been several ceasefire announcements and developments that have happened over the past 2 years. I think that the release of the hostages is a tremendous accomplishment.
Ceasefire, huh? Israel bombing Gaza after ceasefire. Oh. Well. This was after the ceasefire was negotiated and announced. Israel kept bombing people. Like, okay, man. Like, there's still, like, what ceasefire? There is no fucking ceasefire. Like, they're still terrorizing and attacking people. Like, again, it's fucking ridiculous. What ceasefire exists? They are bombing people after the ceasefire. They were bombing people on the day of the fucking ceasefire. Again, complete utter fucking nonsense. Like, there is no fucking ceasefire that's currently in place.
And it is providing so much healing to so many people, Israelis and Palestinians, and it is a profound and important moment in this conflict. I also think that
as
1000% President Trump was on the plane back to the United States, there's already indications and questions about whether this ceasefire will hold. And I pray that it does for everyone's benefit. I pray that it does. But I do believe we need to see if it holds. I don't believe that there's been a history of fidelity to these agreements, and so I think we have to ensure that...
I'm glad that AOC is bringing this up, because she's acknowledging that there is a side that is being dishonest. She's not going to be specific on which side. I'm going to be more specific. It's Israel. Israel is not fucking honest when it comes to the fucking ceasefire. They have constantly bombed and violated ceasefires. Anytime ceasefire negotiations have happened, Benjamin Netanyahu, specifically himself, would snub them every step in turn. Consistently. He would snub all ceasefire attempts. Not an honest actor. You do not treat Netanyahu seriously. He is also a fucking terrorist.
That we will see the term held to.
But do you give him credit? Do you give him credit though for getting to this point where it did get those 20 hostages back home with their families?
In this particular development, yes, but we also know that President Trump was an obstacle to peace previously as well.
That's true.
To be honest with you, I get a little bit annoyed when everyone's talking about credit. Let's take a
That's right.
hard look at what's going on there.
Why do you get annoyed by
I'll
that?
tell you why. Gaza has a population of 2.2 million people. In the last 2 years, 160,000 people have been wounded, mostly women, children, and the elderly. 65,000 people have been killed, women, children, and the elderly predominantly.
That we know
10%,
of.
10% of the population of Gaza. In America, you know what that would mean? 33 million people dead or wounded. A disaster, a genocide, if you like. The entire infrastructure of Gaza, hospitals, schools, water systems, wastewater plants, have been destroyed. Under Trump, supporting, and by the way, what bothers me as an American, we have given, under Biden and under Trump, $22 billion to Netanyahu's extremist government, which for the last month or two have been starving children. That has been their policy.
That's right.
So, Caitlin, when you talk about are we overjoyed that the hostages are back, the prisoners are released, that finally there is peace, hopefully it lasts, yes, absolutely. But this is not a time for credit. This is a time to think about American policy. Are we happy that we have given tens of billions of dollars to destroy the Palestinian people? Israel had a right to defend itself. They were attacked by a terrorist group. They did not have a right to go to an all-out war against women and children in Gaza.
And moreover, on this issue as well, is that we may have an announcement around a ceasefire, but Gaza has been flattened. Tens of thousands of people are dead. Universities gone. Hospitals eliminated. With American-made bombs. With our tax dollars. While you and me and our families can't even afford to put food on the table. And so I welcome the cessation of these bombs dropping in Gaza, but I don't. The devastation of everything that we have endured up until this point is not something that I think we should celebrate. The United States played a role in all of this destruction to begin with by enabling Benjamin Netanyahu in dropping all of these bombs, by refusing to enforce our own American laws and the leaky laws on the books, which says that we cannot be transferring weapons to forces that are engaged in gross human rights violations, and we look the other way because we deem them an ally.
And you're saying that's not something that you're criticism that you're just applying to President Trump?
So again, we can talk about that answer. It's not 100% again, the whole Israel has a right to defend itself kind of a shtick. Again, the only reason why Hamas, I'm going to say this again, why October 7th even happened to begin with, is because of Benjamin Netanyahu actively doing everything possible to snub the Palestinians out of the Abrahamic Accords and any form of negotiations in there. He petitioned directly to Trump to not have the Palestinians involved in those negotiations. Because again, for Benjamin Netanyahu, if it means fucking over a Palestinian, if he sneezes and it kills a Palestinian, he's going to sneeze as many times as he wants until all of them are fucking dead. If it means doing everything possible to make Palestinians suffer with these people, 1000%. Which is why you can't treat people like Benjamin Netanyahu in the state of Israel like honest actors when it comes to any fucking form of negotiations. Because the genocidal intent within the state, baked within the ideology, it has always been there. And yeah, sure, like, they're probably not going to talk about, Alex, how many of the hostages got killed by Benjamin Netanyahu specifically. They're probably not going to mention that. They should, because a lot of hostages, Israeli hostages, got also killed by a lot of the bombings as well. So they're probably not going to talk about that, which is unfortunate, because as I'm saying here specifically, you can't treat Israel like honest actors. They, like the Republican Party, are also terrorists.
Trump in terms
No,
of
President Biden did it. President Biden did it, and I have absolutely said that to him in person as well. Bernie and I.
We spent a long time with President Biden trying to make a case.
I've given President Biden hell about this, and President Trump has absolutely been part of this problem as well. In fact, he was bragging publicly about Benjamin Netanyahu ringing him up and asking for all these kinds of bombs that he doesn't even know the United States has, and him signing off on it.
Can I ask you just
He did do that.
Senator Sanders? So President Trump might look at this and say, well, we had an agreement. It was my negotiators who got Hamas to the table and Israel to the table and had Egypt and the Qataris help broker this. And he says, well, at least there's no fighting.
I mean, Biden also was doing the exact same thing. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Biden also negotiated fucking ceasefires. Again, there's one party to blame for this specifically for as to why all these ceasefire negotiations got snubbed. It's the Israelis. They are the problem. It's always been the Israelis.
Now,
Again, I think every sane person, and certainly the people in Gaza and Israel, are delighted with the ceasefire. We hope it holds. The United States essentially funded this war. If I am funding you, all I got to do is say, hey, Benjamin, guess what? You end this war right now. No more money, no more bombs, no more other military support. In other words, the United States has been from day one, under Biden, under Trump, in the driver's seat.
Bernie is correct there, by the way, but the reason why that's never going to fucking happen is because there's way too many coalescing interests specifically for Israel. Security contracts, military-industrial complex bullshit, even down to local police precincts, right, have agreements with Israel. And universities as well. Like, let's not forget about that. America is intrinsically tied with Israel. Just like, as Joe Biden even himself said this, and this is a good point there by Joe Biden. Like, if 30 years ago there was not an Israel, America would have fucking created one out of thin air and given it like $30 billion to exert an exact influence within the Middle East, because that's always been the point. It's a colonial outpost that is sponsored by the United States of America so they can have influence in the Middle East. That's the point of Israel.
We've got more questions from our audience here tonight. Representative, this one's for you, actually, and thank you so much for being here. This is Justin Hogue, who is a student at Howard University and also a member of the College Democrats from Burlington Township, New Jersey. Thank you for being here. What's your question for the representative?
Thank you. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, you endorsed Joe Biden in the New York City mayoral race, but several prominent Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, have not yet endorsed him. What do you believe this says about the current divide between the progressive and establishment wings of the Democratic Party, and what effect do you think this has on party unity?
Well, I mean,
Not a terrible
I have
question, actually.
stated this for quite some time, which is that Democrats have primaries for a reason. We may have our differences amongst one another within the party. Some may be more conservative, some may be...
So I'm not expecting AOC to be particularly aggressive about this, obviously, because, again, she's looking for higher office, and she has attempting to curry a lot of good favor within the broader sort of Democratic Party, so then she can move on to higher office, right? And she's been doing this work for about 6 years. A lot of lefties obviously don't understand this because they don't give a shit about politics, and they don't understand how politics fucking works, right? She's been currying favor with a lot of the more purple districts with the fucking DCCC with all the extra money that she raises and donating it to those campaigns specifically. Just like, reallocation of funds, extra funds that she has that she doesn't need because she's already covered all of her costs in her campaign. Because, I mean, she doesn't really ever have to campaign. She's pretty much like, she's one of the most popular politicians in the United States of America. She doesn't really ever have to campaign, and she provides for her constituents. She's popular within her fucking district. People like her within her fucking district. She's never going to have to campaign a day in her life ever again. Probably. Unless something drastic happens and she has a radical change in terms of a lot of her fucking policy. And she actively backstabs her fucking constituents. I don't think that's going to happen. But anything can theoretically happen. Blah, 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 blah. She's not going to provide a really aggressive answer to this, so I will provide the aggressive answer. You talk about how people like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer fundamentally care about one thing and one thing only. The reason why they are not endorsing a person like Zoran Mamdani is because they take a lot of the exact same corporate cash and interests as that of Andrew Cuomo. Because in reality, what they want is Andrew Cuomo to win, another centrist, incredibly corrupt, petty octogenarian like Andrew Cuomo, because they know that means the status quo is maintained, and that status quo being that the billionaires are the ones on top and are maintaining that hierarchy and that system of control, fundamentally speaking. Democrats play into this about as much as Republicans, because, again, it's all about control and subjugation for conservatives and on the end. And I also include Democrats on this as well, because a lot of the mainstream establishment Democrats are fundamentally just conservatives. If you just look through all their policies and positions, right? They are conservative. And a lot of their thoughts and beliefs and ideological predilections. Anyone would say they're a fucking conservative party with half a fucking brain in terms of being tuned into fucking politics. Which is not the case for a lot of Americans because their brains are all soup. I'm rambling right now. She's not going to provide a particularly aggressive answer because she's trying to curry favor for higher office, which I'm fine with. Like, I don't really give much of a shit about that. That's not really my fight in particular. I'm not going to make a big fuss about that in particular. A lot of lefties will because they don't give a shit about politics. I will criticize AOC on, like, her Iron Dome votes because I think those are just bad votes. Like, that's just a bad vote. Like, why are you voting this way? That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Which is a fine position to have a critique of. But it doesn't really make sense for somebody like AOC to have to try to go against and try to snub the Democratic Party right now. It's not going to work out as well as a lot of these people may think because she has higher political goals and aspirations because she can leverage a lot of her power and popularity. Like pick your battles, right? Like, why fight against the entirety of the Democratic and Republican establishment all at the same time? That's just too much for one person to have to handle. So pick your fucking battles, right? So again, we know why, fundamentally speaking, why Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are not going to endorse Zoran Mamdani, because for them it's about maintaining their own power and having the exact same corporate donors as the Republican Party has.
Liberal or any other number of differences. That's what we have primaries for. I believe in endorsing the nominee of the party after a primary has resolved itself. And the reason I say that is because I worry that when we don't follow that principle, in fact, it is most important to follow that principle when the winner of the primary is not someone we agree with. I endorsed Bernie in 2020 when he ran against President Biden. President Biden won that nomination. And we all had to come together and do the work of supporting our party's nominee in order to make sure that we win. And so I do worry about the example it sets when our leaders do not support the party nominee, because in the future, we will need folks to rally behind the presidential nominee. And if that nominee is more moderate, or if that nominee is more progressive, and we're setting the precedent of not endorsing the nominee unless we agree with them, I worry about what example that sets. And so I have made myself very clear about that. But
yeah, she's basically trying to say, there's no point in being, Puritan. We have more important battles to be focused on, which is a position that I do agree with.
Is that it's never too late to do the right thing, and election day is just a month away, just 3 weeks away, and so
it sounds like you're calling on Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer to endorse their own.
I believe that I do believe in endorsing the nominee, and I think it's the right thing to do.
Well, let me just add to that. She's much nicer than nicer to people. Look, take a look. You have the Democratic Party. There's no great secret. There's kind of an indulgence right now. Everybody acknowledges that. You've got a candidate in New York City, Zoran Mamdani. Guy's running an extraordinary campaign. He has something like 80,000 volunteers knocking on doors. He is bringing people out who never voted. He is bringing blacks and whites and Latinos and Asians, everybody together around a really strong agenda talking about affordability in New York. What is not to like? This should be the kind of candidate that Democrats want in every state in the country. Strong
That's true.
grassroots campaigns, a willingness to take on the oligarchs and the big money interests, stand up for working class people. So
Yeah, again, I'm not surprised at all by Bernie being more boisterous and aggressive in this in particular because he's old. His position is pretty much secured politically speaking. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has higher political aspirations. Bernie, he's fine with where he's at right now, right? He's been in the Senate for 40 plus years, 50 years or some shit, like for a very, 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 very long time. He's not going to be afraid to just be like, oh, you know what, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, we all know that you people are a bunch of octogenarian centrists that want to do nothing because the Baileys are telling you to not do anything, so you're not willing to endorse Zohran Mamdani because you're a bunch of pussy-ass bitches that accept a bunch of goddamn money from corporations. That's the main problem. And yeah, like he's going to be more willing to, well, he's going to be a lot nicer than I am in particular in terms of the baseline fucking criticisms. But yeah, like Bernie in the back of his mind knows that that's the real reason why. But he's probably not going to be as explicit about it as I am.
So really, that's a great question. But it's very deep because it talks about the future of the Democratic Party.
But are you speaking directly to Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer when you deliver that message?
Sure I am. Okay, you watching this? I don't know. Well, look, it is two things. Of course, Alexandria's right. He's the Democratic nominee. How do you not support the Democratic guy? But more
Who else
importantly,
are we going to support?
he's a great candidate. This should be the model. What we want, we have political problems in America. People are giving up on the political process. He's getting people excited, getting them involved. I would like to see that take place in 50 states in this country.
On that front, we have another question here. Vikram Sardana is a software engineer from Alexandria, Virginia, and you have volunteered for Democratic campaigns. What's your question for Senator Sanders?
Hi. On the issue of healthcare, a lot of the clinics and hospitals that are negatively affected the most under the One Big Beautiful Bill are located in rural, mostly Republican areas. A lot of the increases in Affordable Care Act premiums that Democrats are fighting to prevent are concentrated in more rural Republican areas. If the Republicans are so insistent on sticking it to their own voters on this issue, why don't the Democrats just let them?
I think Alexandria touched on this before. And that is, one of the things, and this really annoys me about Trump, he's dividing this country. Why would I not? When we hit the road, we were in Idaho, right? It's the most conservative state in America, I think. We had many thousands of people coming out. We are Americans. But you think I would feel okay if somebody in a Republican state died because they couldn't get...
So I understand the sort of like question there, but yeah, like fuck these ruraloid fucking pieces of shit. Like fuck these motherfuckers. I mean, I share a lot of these fucking sentiments. Like the sort of like triple Trumper idea from I'm taking that line from I've Had It. Yeah, these triple Trumpers who have voted for Trump 3 times in a row. Yeah, fuck these motherfuckers. Like snub them actively. But like these people are representatives of people within the fucking goddamn country. It's just like, listen, in their heart of hearts, they know that a lot of these people are probably manipulated to and are actively like regretting a lot of their positions, and that a bunch of these people are in reality cultists. For them, they have a lot more fucking principle, and they're not willing to be fucking petty about it when it comes to average people. They're civil servants first and foremost. They care about the American people and providing for them. Even all these like stupid dumb motherfuckers who voted for Trump 3 times because fell for it again award. Everyone starts spamming fell for it again award in the fucking chat because all of these motherfuckers have their fucking fell for it again awards. So yeah, it would feel really good to just be like, fuck you, all of you fucking suck. I hate all of you. You people are fundamentally, completely, and utterly fucking worthless. You guys should just eat shit and fucking suffer. But they're not going to say that. They're not going to do it, right? Like, like they're just not going to be like, fuck these people. They should all eat shit and die. But like, they're still Americans. They care about Americans because for people like Bernie and AOC, they just want to see what's more effective outcomes and better outcomes for the people in general, which is why they're significantly more principled than, say, I would be.
Healthcare? I would hope not. I would hope nobody feels that.
And I think it also speaks to a big difference between someone like Trump and someone like me or someone like Bernie, which is that Trump believes that if you don't vote for him, he doesn't have to be your leader. That if you didn't vote for him, that you don't deserve good things to happen to you. I don't care if someone voted for me or not. I don't care if someone is a Republican or an independent or a Democrat. I don't care if someone likes me or not. That will never change the fact that I'm going to fight for them to have health care. I want MAGA to have health care. I want MAGA to be paid a living wage. But he doesn't want people who are Democrats, or he doesn't want people based on their political affiliation to benefit. And that is the difference between a strong...
So I don't 100% agree with this with AOC. He also, like, Trump hates his fucking, like, voters. He thinks that they're all fucking country blumpkins unsophisticated, uneducated, like, shamblers, like, unironically, like zombies, sycophants. He just likes their adulation. Like, that's the only thing he cares about, and just using them as a tool in order to get into power. And yeah, you're also correct, Boy Meets Mini. If you go out to a lot of these fucking rural towns and shit, and this is a criticism that I also have of More Perfect Union, they do a lot of infantilization of the rural voter. If the rural voter, these like schizophrenic freaks who are afraid of the inner city because there's too many blacks there, basically are just getting throwing a tantrum and getting more and more upset that they're losing their cultural fucking relevance. I say, good, you motherfuckers lost your cultural relevance back in the 18 fucking 80s. No one fucking wants an economy based out of like rural agrarian peasantry. This isn't the Russia during the Tsardom. This isn't Maoist fucking pre-Maoist fucking China under the Kuomintang. Like, get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. No, we live in a modern society where our annals of power, culture, and economic opportunity in the fucking cities. New York, Los Angeles, San Diego, Miami. All of these fucking places are beacons of American prosperity and culture. Not these backwater, third world, rural fucking shitholes that these people fucking populate. And they are willing to drag down the entirety of the country, the entirety of the economy, and cause a stagnation of culture because of their fucking racism. So, fuck these people. Like, they deserve to be, the consequences of their fucking actions. You do not treat these people fucking seriously. You do not give them any grace or fucking sympathy. You take them by the collar and you drag them kicking and screaming into the modern age. That is what you do with these people. Like, you take their rotting carcasses, their rotting towns.
I was wrong about you,
into
Senator.
Town.
You're not cringe. You're just fucking racist.
Thank you, Ryden. Very cool. I am racist. You take these rotting carcasses of towns and you bring them into the fucking light. And that is the light of American cities. That is what you do, because they are the real cultural centers of power and of economic prosperity within the broader nation that is America. That is what you do. Fuck these rural fucking peasants and dipshits. If they want to stay stuck back in the 1880s, they can stay stuck back in the 1880s.
Strongman and an authoritarian.
Also, by the way, like, we have Matt Nology, one of our chatters in this fucking community, lives in fucking Oklahoma. He's consistently talked about how he wants to leave the panhandle of fucking Oklahoma, which is a rural, backwater fucking shithole. All these Appalachians, young fucking Appalachians, and young people living within the panhandle and rural parts of the South, they beg to want to fucking leave their backwards, culturally decrepit, backwater fucking shithole, third world fucking towns. Consistently. This is a constant thing that fucking happens. They want to leave them because, well, you can thank the internet and this shit for that, because they have seen on social media that there is a better path forward. And Republicans want to fucking destroy that because, again, for them, all about the fucking subjugation for that. That's what it is. I'm just going to tell you, most mid-sized cities in India are better than these towns. Oh, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever, Boy Meets Mini. Like, these towns that I'm speaking to, these rural towns that were the supposed, like, I don't know, idea of Americana. Bullshit, by the way. Like a fairy tale that was told by all these, like, stupid right-wing fucking dipshits. No, the centers of culture have always been New York, Los Angeles, Hollywood, Miami, big fucking cities. Chicago, I don't know, Seattle, anywhere that's a big fucking city. Those have always been the main culture, centers of culture and economic prosperity in the United States of America. Always.
And a leader of a democracy.
Can I just ask you quickly, though? The president, typically the military wouldn't get paid during a government shutdown, and a program that helps low-income women, moms, and babies, the president has ensured that those two get funded during this government shutdown. Do you support that?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. And House Democrats also introduced legislation to make sure that they are paid as well.
Representative Ocasio-Cortez, Senator Sanders, a few more questions for you. Stick with us. We're going to be right back after a quick break.
You know what? Just for you, Alex, I'm rescinding Chicago because fuck you. You still haven't given us our South Side of Chicago crime report, bastard.
And we are back with Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We have a final question from our audience tonight. Representative, I'll start with you. We've got Christopher Lindsay here, who's a Republican from Hickory Grove, Illinois, who works for United Airlines. Go ahead with your question.
Good evening, Senator Sanders, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. It's a privilege and an honor to be speaking to you two tonight in beautiful Washington, D.C. My question to the both of you is, what can Congress do to stop pointing a finger at each other, work together, and listen to the words of Abraham Lincoln? A house divided cannot stand.
Well, I mean, I can't thank you enough for invoking that quote in this.
Trump is the problem. Trump. Snub him. Force him to capitulate. That's it. That's what you got to do.
Moment, because I think when we zoom out and look at the degree of political polarization that we're all experiencing, I don't think any one of us likes it. I don't think any one of us enjoys that we're at a point where friends feel like their relationships are in tension, that family feels like they're in relationship in tension, that it feels like you can't say some of those basic things without it turning into a fight. It's not good for our country. And I think we have to lead by example. I think it's important for us to lead with what we think can work and the areas that we are able to find common ground and to uplift that common ground. I gave some examples earlier today. Bernie has also a tremendous bipartisan record, believe it or not, in the House and in the Senate, but that's often not what we hear about. Congress passes bills, actually, every day, believe it or not, that are bipartisan in nature. And we never hear about the actual common ground that we have and the successes that we have in that. And I actually do believe that.
Well, the reason for that is because a lot of the stuff that gets passed in a bipartisan faction is really, really bad, generally speaking. I mean, there's good provisions in there, obviously, as well. Like, there is good stuff. Like, let's not lie here in particular. We can also talk about how the media has sensationalized this quite a lot, and this is also a thing that happens. But again, Trump is the main fucking problem. The Republican Party is the main problem. They are the ones that make everything actively fucking worse. Like, they are the ones who push forward with all the political polarization because of Trump specifically. Like, he has made this environment of, like, dipshit fucking fascism and is trying to do everything possible to just make, well, the environment in politics just significantly fucking worse.
If we charge forward with that a little bit more. Last year I spent a lot of work preventing sexually exploited material generated by AI and protecting women and children, and I was happy to have enjoyed bipartisan support on that. But we often hear first about the things that divide us, and we rarely hear about the things that have actually united us. And so I do believe we should be leading by example, and when we have these moments of stark contrast, that we also are clear about the principles upon which our disagreements happen. If I disagree with you, if I as a Democrat disagree with you as a Republican, I'm not going to question your motive. I'm not going to question your allegiance to this country. I'm not going to question your intent and your care. And I believe that when we devolve into that is when we are actually stoking division in our country. When we call those who disagree with us un-American. That is what is un-American. And I could not advocate more for the fact of sticking to the facts about things, respecting and honoring the intentions and motives of our fellow Americans. And also...
Yeah, she's actively talking about Trump there because Trump has done that before. He's willing to just go after people on a partisan sort of basis, which, I mean, it's fair enough that she's saying this, right? Like, I don't disagree with what she's saying here.
Trying to elevate and find the areas that we do have common ground and agreement.
I think Alexandria said it very well. I mean, I would just add as an example. This Saturday, millions of people are going to come out on a No King's Day. Maybe more people coming out than any time in American history. Speaker Johnson said this is a Hate America rally because people are coming out expressing their concerns about massive cuts to healthcare and movement toward authoritarianism. I hate America. I love America. But the point is, instead of attacking each other in that way, in my view, what we got to do is lay the issues out on the table. We've got a healthcare crisis. Do we not, friends? All right. We're the only country not to guarantee healthcare at all. How do we move to a healthcare system that guarantees healthcare to human right? Make sense to you? All right. 70, 80 years ago in this country, if you went to a public college or university, you know what your tuition was? Zero. And you got all of this increased worker productivity, all of the technology. People can't afford to send their kids to college. They can't afford childcare. People are paying outrageous costs in housing. How do we build the millions of units of affordable low-income housing that we desperately need? How do we save the planet for our kids and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel? Do you know that millions of senior citizens in this country are trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less? They help build this country. They fought for our country. They're in nursing homes, which are horrible places right now because they're underfunded, understaffed. We are the richest country in the history of the world. How do we provide a good quality life for our kids? Should we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major nation? Highest rate of senior poverty? Those are the issues. You disagree with me? Fine. You got a better idea than mine? Great. Let's go forward. Let's discuss those issues. Let's not attack each other personally, that we're un-American, that we hate America. That's nonsense. That just divides us. Let's come together. Let's discuss the real issues. Let us create the kind of extraordinary country that we know we can create.
On that note, Senator Sanders, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, thank you both for being here tonight. Thank you to our audience and for your excellent questions. We really appreciate them.
Also, that fucking idiot used the House divided quote. The full quote is a House divided against itself cannot stand it. Cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free. It was not about compromising. Yup. Whoa, you're telling me that the dude in the fucking Stetson hat who's doing the fucking LARP shit, misquoted fucking Lincoln. Yeah, okay. I don't know. Like, it's a good fucking town hall overall. I mean, like, it's mostly like nitpicky stuff in terms of like messaging. But again, if we want to talk about the main people who are guiding the fucking shutdown, it's the Republican Party. They're the ones who have raised the temperature and raised the sort of like climate within in terms of rhetoric, in terms of not wanting to work with anyone and not wanting to go along with anyone for the sake of going along. Like, they are the problem. Trump is the one who's made this worse ever since he came down the fucking escalator and talked about how Mexicans are all fucking rapists, right? There is one person to point to in terms of this whole entire fucking fiasco, and it is Trump. He is the main problem that has helped catalyze this particular sort of heavy fucking partisanship, and having people just wholeheartedly unwilling to sort of like be willing to work with one another, and has helped catalyze this fucking government shutdown. So I mean, you know, mostly small nitpicks that I have and criticisms of Bernie Sanders and AOC's messaging, but for the most part, I do agree with a lot of what they're saying. But yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say besides Trump is the main problem. He is the one that has made everything actively worse.